All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Learning Channel on Wednesday. What is it? January 27th, I think, today. We're super happy to have you with us here this morning. My name is Matt Balka with Digital Innovation, and we have an awesome schedule for you this morning. We are jam-packed today. This is our last day streaming for a little while. If you look at our schedule, you'll notice that we took February off. So we have an awesome Savvis schedule for you this morning, starting with math, with Linda Cordes. Then we're going to ELA, Digital Exploration. Then we have Chris Peterson back with some more math, 6 through 12. Then we have My Perspective, 6 through 12 with Donna Koss. Elevate Science, K through 8 with Kelly Palsrock. And then Donna is going to round us out for the morning at 11. So, I am not going to take up, actually, I will take up a little bit more of your time. If you are not following us on Twitter, you definitely should. It's a great way to keep yourself informed about what's going on with us or the rest of the district. At JCPSDigIn is our Twitter handle, and when you tweet, use the hashtag JCPSDigIn. That way we can give you a like, a follow, a retweet, and we can continue to spread that brilliance around the district. And while you're here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube, so that way you're notified every time we go live, and you can easily see when we post new videos. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Linda. Linda, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Happy to be here. Really happy. Okay, can I go?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to start off here and share my screen with you.
All right. Looks great.
Okay. And let's put this on.
Oh, you have to hit where it actually says CC. There you go. Perfect.
Got it. Okay, so we good to go now?
Yeah, we're great.
Awesome. Okay, so I want you to just imagine that all your students are understanding the math concepts that you're teaching. This is what happens when you use problem-based learning. But how do you actually do this? Well, in this session, I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how to do this with the 3 reads protocol, the grappling with interesting or complex problem routine, and show you how to insert it into an Envision, Solve, and Share. So why would you want to take time to master this? Well, to make deep understanding of mathematical concepts accessible to all your students. So I want to welcome JCPS grade 3 to 5 teachers, and actually anyone else who's watching this video later or live, because this is an awesome way to help kids understand math, and particularly when they have complex word problems to solve. I'm Linda Cordes. I'm your partner for K-5 Envision Math, and this is using 3 reads and grappling with Solve and Shares. This is problem-based learning at its best, where students are able to collaborate in productive struggle for deeper understanding. All right, so in this session, like I said, we're going to go over and sort of review the 3 reads and grappling. Then I'm going to show you Envision Math Support Padlet, and we're going to grab some information there, and then we're going to dive into an Envision Solve and Share where we put all of this together. And I'm going to show you some great resources that will help you put this into place in your classroom. So first of all, let's start off and talk just a little bit about the 3 reads protocol. You've probably received some former training on this. If you haven't, when you watch this video again, I would stop and get a screen capture of this little chart here, because it's a great summary of the 3 reads protocol. But I'm just going to kind of briefly go through some major points. So first of all, the 3 reads is a scaffold for students to build capacity. And actually, it was originally meant to support EL students. But let me tell you, it works for all students. And someone once told me a long time ago that EL could also stand for every learner. So this is going to be an awesome strategy for you to use. Now, in the 3 reads, there are basically 3 steps. You're going to read the problem 3 times, and each time you're reading for a different purpose. So the first time through, you're going to actually just show the stem. So if you're doing this face to face, you would maybe put it on a chart paper and have the question at the bottom and fold the paper up and tape it down so the students just see the stem of the question. If you're doing this virtually, I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to do this. But the idea is the kids are focusing on what is this about and what's the gist of it. Sort of like they're reading a story and what's the main idea, what's going on here. The second time you read through, you're going to, again, just show the problem stem. And this time you're focusing on what are the quantities and what do they represent. Then you're going to stop, you're going to pause, and you're going to ask students, okay, so based on the story and the quantities that you see here, what math questions do you think you could ask about this? So you're really making them dive deep into the meaning of the problem. I mean, contrast that with the way kids usually and adults approach word problems. They tend to just kind of skip over the words and look for the numbers, and then, oh, there's 2 numbers, I must be adding or subtracting. So this forces them into the problem and thinking about what the numbers mean, what the situation is, what they might have to do. Okay, so then after they've thought about these, then you're going to do the third read, and this time you reveal the question because you want to ask the students afterwards, so what is this problem asking us to do? Now, I'm going to later on kind of walk you through this with an actual problem and kind of think about what are some questions you would ask kids about this specific problem. All right, so that
Hey,
in a
Linda.
nutshell, yes,
I'm going to break in for a moment.
sure.
Samantha mentioned in the chat that the 3 reads is a great protocol for primary, and it's that they can look at the curriculum frameworks guideline for the anchor charts and the literature that goes with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Samantha. Great input. Okay, make sure you break in and let me know any other great comments people are saying, okay? All right, so that's the 3 reads. Let's talk about grappling. So again, this kind of refers back to your instructional framework, and you see the yellow arrow there is pointing to the grapple with interesting or complex problem routine. So this, if you go to your framework and you click on this, you're going to see this awesome video that where a teacher is showing you actually modeling this with some students. Now, we don't have time to look at that now, but I highly suggest you go in and you look at that. But I am going to, I took a couple of screenshots to share with you to just kind of walk you through the steps. Again, this has 3 steps. 3 is the magic number today, let me tell you. Okay, so the first step is you're going to want to engage the students and let them grapple with an interesting or complex problem that's related to the learning for the day before receiving instructions. So this is kind of important. You're not going to actually teach this problem to the students and demonstrate how to do it. No, you're going to allow them to grapple with it. That's why it's important. This is where you would insert that 3 reads protocol is in this step. And so then after you've gone through that, you give the students a few moments to grapple with it on their own independently. This is because you're going to go into a second step where the students either partner or they work in a small group to share what they thought about independently and then come up with a solution. So as they're doing that, you see the teacher is walking around. She's doing some important things right there, and we'll talk about that when we get to the solve and share what she's doing while she's doing that. And whether you're face-to-face or virtual, you can still the kids can be doing the same thing, you can be doing the same thing. It's just going to look different how you do it. All right, so after you discuss, after the students discuss, then the teacher, oh, you know what, let me stop because I wanted to tell you about when you put kids together to discuss, real important that you have some norms so that the quality of your discourse is good and that all students are able to participate. So you do things like you give students roles, you have conversation starters, and a word about these conversation starters. You want to not give them all at once. It's too overwhelming, and then they won't use any of them. So maybe each time focus on 2 or 3 of them, probably 2. And so you might start off with I agree with, because, I disagree with, because, and let students know that as you're circulating or popping in and out of groups, that you're going to be listening to see if they are agreeing and then backing up with reasons, mathematical reasons. Okay. Another important thing you're going to have to think about is how are students going to make their thinking visible? So Jamboard, I really like for this. I think it's awesome because not only can the kids access it easily, you can easily see what people are saying. There is also a feature called discussion in Vision that you could use for this. So that's another training though, but that, I'm just putting a bug in your ear there. All right, so then the third step is after the kids have worked on it and the teacher's circulated, the teacher brings it back and focuses on the explicit instruction. And she has all this information from what she observed in the students working. All right, now let's hop over to a Padlet, and I'm going to show you a great resource where we're going to pick up something that we're going to use. All right, so this is a Padlet that I created for K through 5 in Vision, and it is to support you in teaching the math. So you're going to notice the first column has some information over here. There's purple, there's my contact information. So if you want to know how to get a hold of me and you forget, just remember Padlet, Padlet, Padlet. Linda said Padlet. And probably the link is, if you're watching this live, the link is in the chat. And then if you're watching it later, look below the video and you'll probably see a link for it there. So you go there and you have my email, you have the Twitter account. This is not just me, it's all the consultants from Savas access this. And then my office hours, I really want you to come hop in and just introduce yourself and see what I can help you with. If you have questions, certainly come join. And it is every Tuesday and Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30. And if you just come to this Padlet and you click here on the click here to join, it'll take you into the room. So awesome. Then down below here are all the videos that I've done here for you on the Learning Channel, plus a few more. And I'll keep adding to this as we go. Now, all this green and yellow, these are your awesome tools for aligning Envision to your curriculum framework. So you see it's all the way K through 5. And then if you use the sliders, you can move through the different units. And it starts at 2. Don't be alarmed. 1 will be there. I figured you were probably past that. I'm still working on this, getting it up. And then it goes down to 5. And by the end of the week, 6 will be in there. And then the rest of them within a couple of weeks here. All right, so let's jump over here. And this is how I would recommend you use it. So let's go to grade 4, and I'm going to go into unit 4 because I think that's either where you're at or it's maybe a little bit ahead of you, and that's a good thing. So when I click on this, it opens up a Word document, and you see you can download it, so you can edit it as you want to. First column, let's talk about that. First column, you will see your standards, and this is taken straight from your curriculum frameworks. So you'll notice that you have the color coding. The red is the essential standards, and the yellow highlighted is the fluency standards, which are also essential. So you have all of those. Okay, and then over here in the second column, this is where you have your corresponding lessons in Envision. And within each lesson are embedded tons of resources to teach these standards. You'll have digital practice. You'll have practice you can print out. You'll have video lessons. You'll have problem-based learning that we're going to focus on today. You'll have formative assessments, games, digital tools, all kinds of stuff. And then we come to the third column. This is your planning notes. So I just put some questions in there that you can consider. Certainly don't feel like you have to answer all of them. This is not a lesson plan form that you have to turn in. Just some questions to think about as you're planning. And then you have lots of space there if you want to write some notes. Okay, now let's hop into that solve and share. Remember, we talked about the 3 reads protocol and grappling. So now we're going to see, all right, how do you put this to use? So I'm going to go to this standard here since we're right here. And this is about dividing. So division, long division, the algorithm is really kind of like a new thing, I believe, for 4th graders. And so let's look at, we're going to look at this lesson 5.4 where they interpret remainders, because I've always noticed that kids don't really get this idea because they don't really get division. So let's go into your curriculum. So now we're at the Savas site. And while I'm doing this, Chris, are there any questions or comments we need to add?
No, Samantha and I were having our nice little long conversation about the language support handbook and the sentence stems and sentence starters that are available in the language support handbook. So I told her where to find it, but if you have a chance, show that for them.
Okay, I will do that. There's a couple other things I'm going to show, so I'll try to remember to do that at that point. Okay, so let me see. So we're in our 4th grade book, and we're going to go down here to find topic 5, which is use strategies and properties to divide by 1-digit numbers. And when we click on that and we go down to, let's pick out the lesson we looked at, interpreting remainders. I open this up, and this is what I mean when I say each lesson has a lot of resources. Each one of these things you see is a resource you can click on and use. Now they are organized, so you'll see right here, step 1, step 2. Step 2 has a lot of resources, and step 3. So if you were teaching the whole lesson, you would go through all these steps. It might take you a day or two, and you're not going to use all the resources. You're going to pick and choose. But today we're focusing on this step 1, which is called problem-based learning. And it's actually called solve and share. But what it is a problem-based learning experience. So I'm going to click on that. All right, so here we are. Here is your problem. And I'm not going to read it yet because we're going to read it 3 times, all right? But I am going to show you this. Remember we said we want to hide the questions. So by the way, when you have this screen up, you have all these tools over here you can use. Students also have access to this. So if you were to assign this particular piece to the students, they could work it out and then submit it, and you would have an example of their work. But if we're going to use Jamboard, we don't necessarily have to do that. They can take a screenshot and post that. So let's make this thick so you can make it thick. Let's pick a pretty sunny yellow. And now we're going to come over here, and this is a little tricky. You learn how to do this. You actually have to put this a little bit below when it's really thick, and we'll see how well I can do this. You'll get better as you practice. Okay. Okay, so I have it covered up, and it's going to be really easy to uncover it, all right? There. All right, so we're going to go through the 3 reads protocol. So remember, the first time we read through it, probably it's going to be the teacher reading it to the students. And you just read it out loud, and you might tell them, okay, so we're going to read this problem, and I want you to listen and read along, and I want you to be thinking about, what is this about? What's the gist? So there are 47 students taking a field trip. The students are being driven in cars to a play by adult volunteers. Each driver can take at most 4 students. So then you're going to pause and say, okay, turn to your partner and tell them what this is about, or some way have the kids get interactive with it, and then have some share outs. So they're probably going to say, the kids are going on a field trip. Now, if they don't give you more than that, you might want to probe a little bit more and say, well, how are they getting there? So you get them into thinking about, what is this problem actually going to ask them to do later on? So how are they getting there? They're in cars. Are the kids driving? No, but there's an adult driving. Okay. All right. So now we're going to read it again and maybe call on a student to read it out loud, or you can read it aloud again. The reason I am not, I'll tell you why I am not using this the first time is because you're going to have to stop it because he's going to read on and say the question, okay? So maybe have a student read it, and this time tell the students, now this time I want you to listen for the quantities. What are the numbers in this story? And notice I'm saying story, not problem. There are 47 students taking a field trip. Okay, you read through it again. Then you stop and you ask, okay, so what are the quantities you noticed? And they'll say 47. And you want to make sure you probe a little further and say, well, what does the 47 represent? That's how many kids are on the trip. Oh, okay. And then someone else says 4 students. What does 4 students represent? That's how many are in a car. Now, you're going to want to, in a problem like this where they say at most, this is key, that they understand what that phrase means. And they probably won't all understand. So you're going to need to make sure they do. And you could ask, so what does that mean at most? And they might say anything. Who knows? Okay. They're 4th graders. All right. But you're going to want to make sure you maybe follow up if they don't get it with, well, could there be 2 kids in the car? Could there be 3 kids in the car? So make sure they're really understanding it. All right. So now we're going to read it a 3rd time. Or actually, before we read it a 3rd time, let's stop and think, what are some math questions that we could ask? And as they're saying them, you might have them write the questions, you might have them share it on the Jamboard, but get those questions out. Then say, all right, I'm going to reveal the questions and we're going to read through this a 3rd time. And this time we're reading to find out what do they want us to answer. So real quick way to get rid of this is you could use the eraser. That's the hard way. You can just use the trash can, delete all, and there you have your questions revealed. All right. So now you read through it again this time, and then you say, so what do they want us to find out here? And they may catch one question, but maybe not the second. So you're going to want to probe again. What else? What else do they want us to, what else do they want you to find out? And then if you have special directions like use counters, then you're going to want to say, what strategies do they suggest you use? So that they know. All right. So there's your 3 reads protocol. Now, the rest of the part 1 grappling is the students then start, they go into the independent grapple. And when they're doing that, they can use these tools. So you saw the first one. These are counters. This is probably what they're going to use. Those are base 10 blocks. Down here, you have shapes, number lines, graphs, and fractions. They're probably going to use these. So they might pick a red for the adult, and they might not even put the adult in there. They might just put the kids. And it gets a little tricky if they do both. So the way I'm putting this is I'm just moving the arrow and clicking to make it set there where I want it. Okay. So that's how they might do it. So after they've grappled, then they're going to come back and you'll put them into groups. If you're face to face, you'll figure out how you're going to do that. If they are virtual, you're probably going to put them into a breakout room. So as they're doing this in step 2, you're doing 2 really important things. The first thing is you're making sure they're on track by asking them, by listening to them, and then having some strategic questions that will get them unstuck or move them forward. You'll have those ready ahead of time and be ready to ask those questions. The other really important thing you're doing is you're looking at the student work and you're deciding as you go, which ones am I going to have share out and in what order? In other words, how am I going to scaffold what I'm seeing them do with their work to move into the explicit instruction that I want to give? All right. And then the 3rd step is you're going to come back and you're going to talk about the questions. Now I'm going to show you 2 really great resources for where you can get help with this. So you see this arrow. This is a drop down, and right up at the top is my teacher's edition. So I open that up, It opens in a separate window, so I still have everything open over there that I need for the program. Gives you time to breathe. All right. And now, this is the first page of my instructions before I would begin the whole lesson. So you're going to have your focus, coherence, rigor on the left. Look at those blue bands. Okay, and then down here, this is kind of important. It's giving you the vocabulary. Of course, remainder is a big word for this lesson. 2 color counters is the materials you might need. And then it says teaching tool 15. I'll show you where that is in a bit. And then it says watch this, look, and listen. I'll show you that in a bit. Let's move to the next page where this solve and share is. Okay, here's the solve and share. So on the right, you see the problem. This looks like a workbook page because it is. So you could also expand this and show this to the kids, but then you won't have the tools and all that stuff. So I recommend you go with the other, what I showed you. So notice on the left side, I want you to watch as I scroll down and look at the big capital letters in blue, bold, before, during, after. 3 steps. These are your 3 steps for grappling. So in the before, pose the solve and share, check for understanding. Use your 3 reads protocol in the before. The during moves to small group. Observe the student work, and you notice there are what approaches do students use. So, and then there's some great questions for you to ask, okay? So when they get to the remainder, you can ask questions like, well, what happened to these 3 students? To get them thinking about it. And then the after is the whole class discussion. You even have an extension where students who finish, like groups that finish working early and they're just sitting there in their group playing around or doing nothing, you can give them an extension to think about, okay? Now, in step 2, remember I said you're gonna wanna have questions prepared and you're gonna wanna know what student work you're looking for. So let's talk about the questions first. The questions are suggested for you in here, okay? But if you think about your lesson before you do it, you might also come up with some other questions, or you know your students, you know where they get stuck, and you know how to get them unstuck by asking good questions. All right, so now the other important part is, how do you know what student work to look for? Well, in every single lesson, you're going to get 2 examples of student work. So in this one, we have Ashley and Olivia. And let's start with Olivia's. Hers is on the bottom. You see that she has her little cars represented. She realizes that there are going to be 11 full cars and 3 students left over. And then she leaves it there. She, you know, that's as far as she gets with it. So then I would maybe start with hers and then show Ashley's and say, okay, this takes it a little bit further. So you're building, you're scaffolding. She's got the same kind of thing, her cars and her 3 left over. She has an equation and she spells it out a little more with words, and she explains that there are actually 12 cars needed that 3 students would have to ride in one of the cars, okay? So now there's also another place where you can get help, and that is, so that was the teacher edition, and I got to it up at the top of the solve and share where I was. You can get to it a lot of different places, and come to those office hours if you want more help with this. So I'm going to go back where we were before. So where I took you before was here, and I clicked on solve and share. But up above here is this awesome listen and look for video. These are very, very short. We're not going to look at the whole thing, but I just want you to get a taste of what it's like.
The essential understanding for this lesson is, when dividing, the remainder must be less than the divisor. When solving a real-world problem, the kind of questions asked determines how to interpret the remainder. Previously, students learned basic division facts and divided multiples of 10, 100, and 1,000 by one-digit numbers. In this lesson, students are introduced to finding quotients and remainders. Students learn different ways to interpret the remainder in real-world problem situations. This problem is key because students.
Okay, so in most cases, this problem that they show you is going to be the solve and share. In this case, it's a very similar problem. So he's got 23 sweaters. Each box holds 3. And remember, notice that it's asking 2 questions again, okay? So what I want you to focus on is the next part here.
Fact to find a quotient and a remainder. Then they answer 2 questions that require different interpretations of the remainder. Listen and look for students who divide 23 by 3 and find the quotient.
Okay, now if your students are doing this remotely, I'll bet a lot of them will do something like this right off the bat because they might have a parent there who's helping them. And if they do that, you have no clue that they really understand this problem or anything. And this R2, what is an R2 box, okay? So anyway, let's go on.
And a remainder of 2. However, they report this quotient and remainder as the solution to the problem and do not give any explanation. Encourage these students to model the problem using counters or a drawing. Talk about how the model represents the quotient and the remainder. The 7 groups of 3 counters each represent the 7 boxes.
Hey, Linda, we're at 9:01 right now. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay, thanks.
The 2 remaining
Real
counters
quick.
represent the 2 remaining sweaters. They will need to be put in another box. So, Dave will need 8 boxes in all.
Okay, it's going to go on and show you even more, but the point is this is a good resource for figuring out what kids are actually going to have to know. And I'm going to hop back here. And can you see this okay?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So if you actually want to do this and you want to plan this, there are some steps. So the first step is select the solve and share that matches your standard, and you can find that on the Padlet in the alignment tool. And then you're going to want to watch that listen and look for video and look at the teacher edition as well to see what kind of student work should you expect and how to scaffold it. Then do the math yourself, okay? Actually work the problem out yourself so you start to see where might kids struggle and what kind of good questions should I ask in addition to what's already given to you. Determine what student work you're going to look for and how you're going to scaffold it. And then think about how will the students share with the partner and small group. And then how will groups share their work? Maybe Jamboard, okay? And be clear on the questions that you're going to ask, okay? So this was a quick walkthrough on how to use 3 reads and grappling with Envision Solve and Shares. And your next step is to reach out and contact me for support. I'm happy to work with you individually, with groups. I can model a solve and share. I can help you plan a solve and share. I can support you in a lot of different ways using your Envision Math resources. So contact me. My email's up there. My office hours, Tuesday and Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30. And remember the Padlet, it's in the link below the video. It's in the chat if you're watching it live. I am here to support you. Go to that Padlet and hop on the office hours. I'm ready, so let's get started working together. Thank you.
Awesome. Linda, thank you so much. We appreciate it. I think Chris said in the chat, you're like butter, you're on a roll. So you were crushing it this morning.
That's funny.
All right, everybody, it is 9:03. Let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule. We just got done with Linda talking about Math 3 through 5 using the language routines and 3 reads. We are about to welcome Bernita and Robin with us this morning to do ELA K through 5 digital exploration. So, Bernita, Robin, welcome. How are you?
Oh, we're good. How are you?
Good morning.
Great, thank you. All right, I don't want to take up your time. I've talked about everything I need to, so go ahead. It's all you.
All righty.
And you all are professionals now. This is awesome.
Finally. Welcome to Ready Gen Digital. My name is Robin Talbot Porter, and presenting with me today is Miss Bernita Mosley.
Good morning, everyone.
Our goal for today is to help you to be able to leverage the e-texts that are available in ReadyGen, along with the resources and tools to create your own lessons. Let's take a look at today's agenda. Today, we will explore the JCPS Padlet resources, look at the various book selections and formative assessment pieces that are part of your curriculum framework, and look at ways in which to customize content and create playlists. Here are your learning goals. As a result of today's session, you'll be able to locate your digital tools and e-text, utilize the book pairings and the formative assessment guides, and customize by adding content by reviewing the playlist and looking at content that has been created on the Google Classroom side. Before we can begin to move forward, it's important for us to share our Padlet resources that are available for K through 5 for ReadyGen. So we're going to navigate to the Padlet. And here you will notice that there are various columns. We're going to begin with column 1. In column 1, you will find our office hours. We're available to support you with ReadyGen and MyView every Tuesday and Thursday between the hours of 3:30 and 4:30, and the link is listed below. Scrolling down that first column, you'll see a video that is designed to support you as you add products by way of your Clever and Easy Bridge. This is available to you if you have not done so already. And coming down to the last piece that is in that first column, there is a distance learning guide. This guide will provide you with various tips and tools to help you navigate the digital learning platform. In addition, we're going to scroll over to our second column, and here you'll see the book pairings for ReadyGen and the formative assessment pieces, along with pieces from MyView. We're going to scroll into a K through 2 module 3 examples so that I can show you what's there. Here you will notice that each product is represented and each grade level is represented. So you will see for both MyView and ReadyGen. We're going to look at second grade, and we're going to first look at a book pairing. I want to scroll down and show you how this document is laid out, and I want you to keep in mind that you will find the same information in all grades. Here is a comparison of the assessments that are available. Here is a ReadyGen unit theme. Here are the compelling questions along with the broader topics and a correlation between the framework and the units of study. And if we scroll down just a little bit further, we'll see how the document is laid out, beginning with the first column, which is the title of the selection that has been chosen to match one or more of the compelling questions, the author, the lexile, in some cases, the guided reading level will be there as well, the particular genre and the location of the text. This is critical. This particular story comes from grade 4, unit 1, module 8, and it is an anchor text. We're going to take a look at an assessment piece as well. In considering the assessment pieces, what I want you to realize is that they will mirror the same format in every grade. Here's an example of an assessment. I'm going to scroll past the front matter onto the particular unit of study itself. And here we're looking at the broader topic, which is the history of the earth. And the compelling questions are listed below, as well as additional resources. But what's most important is the format, beginning with the title of the story. The item focus skill will always be the standard. And this time we're looking at key ideas and details, standard RI 2.3. The location of that text, and the formative assessment pieces that are so critical to ensuring students are moving towards standards mastery with proficiency. And here we're looking at the vocabulary, the reader's writer's journal, and the questions that can be found on particular pages. A measure of student proficiency can be found by way of collecting data in response to how students are responding to the questions. We're going to take a look-see at another example, and this time we're going to just quickly pull up a 3 through 5 so you know how that document is laid out as well. And looking at ReadyGen resources, I'm just going to lift just one element from Module 3, and that's the formative assessment piece. And here you'll be able to see that the format is the same, beginning with the compelling questions and the broader topic on into the format. Here we see the title of the text, The item focus skill, this time we're looking at visuals and diagrams, photographs and sidebars. The standard is RI 3.7, the location of the text, and the informal assessment pieces this time are vocabulary and talk about it. And every question that is in the talk about it is geared towards that standard of identifying and explaining using videos and visuals. All right, moving on. We're going to scroll across till we come to ReadyGen navigation, which is in this column. Here you'll see that there is a click path, there is digital courseware, and there's also a Ready, Set, Go digital document. All of these pieces are for you to reference at your leisure. But as you navigate the platform, please utilize these tools to support you. The next column has the implementation guides for each grade level. And the implementation guides will provide you with the standards that are being addressed in the units of study at each grade level. Scrolling over to one more column is the ReadyGen Spanish EText library. Here you will find titles that are written in Spanish that transcend all grade levels, K through 5. And the final column has the foundational skills pieces for ReadyGen and MyView. Now that you've had an opportunity to look at the Padlet, it is our hope that you will spend time exploring the wonderful resources that are there. Now, we're going to change our thinking and look through a different lens now. We're going to look through the lens of the EText itself. And here is a wonderful selection, The Snowy Day. And everybody knows about Peter and his adventures on the first snowfall. But what we're going to do is we're going to leverage this story in regards to our formative assessment pieces and our standards. So now we're looking at a K selection for Module 3. The broader topic is weather, and the compelling questions are listed below. The compelling question that we're going to focus our attention on for today's session is what ways can weather make us feel? And how can we take care of ourselves in any weather? So I want you to hold that in the back of your mind as we navigate forward. Here is the formative assessment that goes directly with this book. Again, the same format is found in every grade, beginning with the title of the story, the item focus skill, key ideas and details, the item standard, RLK.1. And here the formative assessment pieces revolve around reviewing the vocabulary and the specific questions that are detailed enough to bring us back to this concept of key ideas and details. I want you to remember key ideas and details because as we navigate the platform, we'll be looking at ways to support that. Here is the way in which we're going to navigate to find the snowy day. We're going to begin at kindergarten. We're going to go into Unit 3, into Module 8, and into the text collection. And keep in mind that any book pairing has the location of how to navigate to the specific text itself. So we're going to the Savage Real Lives platform, and here we are at the sign-in page. And this is the page you will come to after you've logged in through your Clever and your EasyBridge. So I'm going to sign in, and as the directions told me to do, I'm going to look for my kindergarten text. I'm going to open that up, and here I'm at the table of contents, and scrolling down, you'll see all the important elements. You'll see the units of study, and you'll see an activity and some assessments. But we're going to go into Unit 3 because that's the navigation path that we're taking. And at the unit level, you will notice that our modules are present as well as a level EText and the end of the unit assessment. I'm going to go into Module A. And in the module itself, you'll see such things as the scaffolded strategies handbook and interactive, a text collection, games, selections, foundational skills, and lessons, all kinds of wonderful tools. So we're going to go to the text collection. We're going to open that up. And once in there, we should be able to see the story, The Snowy Day. Once in here, there are a couple of things that I want to show you. The first thing is that this selection will read,
The Snowy Day, Ezra Jack Keats.
Also, if we scroll over to the menu bar and we open that up, there's a table of contents, bookmarks, annotations, highlights, and a notebook. If I open the table of contents, I can see that this story will present itself over a number of days. Secondly, if I wish to bookmark particular pages, I would just go here and I would bookmark them and they would be saved. I can annotate in the text itself, or I can take notes by way of a notebook. And Ms. Bernita will walk us through some of those pieces as she goes into how to present the lesson to a group of students. With that being said, I'm going to take us back to the home page. I'm going to go back to the table of contents because, again, keeping in mind, we're looking at main idea and key details. And one way that we can have students to demonstrate their learning to learn is by going into this activity called independent reading activities. And once you are in there, you will see that this particular page looks like this. You will need to open the ends of the arrows, and in doing so, under informational text, we see something that will support our item focus skill, main idea and details. So we're going to go to the instructions so we know just what to do. And here are 3 activities. The first activity is entitled On the Cover. The next activity is a main idea kite. And the following activity is a main idea and details. And so each activity will help to measure student mastery toward the standard itself. We're going to open the activity. And once we do so, we'll notice that there is a toolbar. Here, students can choose a marker. They can erase. They can add text. They can add stampers. They can even upload a picture if they wish to demonstrate the ideas of main idea in detail. There is also one more quick activity that I want to show you. And this time we're going to drill into the teacher's resources. And in the teacher's resources, you will see such things as Envision It animations and grammar jammers and things of that nature. We're going to look at the Envision It animations, and keeping in mind, the focus is on key ideas and details. When you come in here, you'll have to click and it will open up. We're going to drill down into the element of main idea. And here we'll be able to show a brief video to help students understand what is this concept about main idea and details.
Every story tells about something. The main idea or theme is what the story is all about. It's the idea that connects everything in the story.
Okay, I just showed you that very briefly. There's just one more item that I want to show you, and that's by way of the magnifying glass. Remember that you can search for titles of books through the magnifying glass, but you can also search for concepts to support your teaching. And I'm going to put in main idea and details, and I'm going to search. And once I do so, it's going to bring up all the stories that are available for supporting that particular item focus skill. I can filter by grade level or by comprehension skill. I can also filter by way of text features or genre. But what I want to do is I want to draw your attention to this black bar that says see results from Mosaic by ACT. I'm going to click that box. And once I do so, I can see that there are a wealth of resources on this side as well. But what I want to do is I want to filter because I'm looking for a video that I can show that will help to build understanding. And in doing so, I noticed that there are 3 pages. The video that I'm looking for is on page 2. And what I will do is I would probably assign this to my students to watch before I began to talk about main idea in detail.
By the end of this quest, you will be able to explain the main idea and key details of the text. My friends play basketball all the time, and it looks like so much fun. I wanted to learn how to play too. So I took out a book from the library all about how to play basketball. Here's what I learned. The main idea of the book was how to play basketball.
All right, so that gives you another tool for supporting the idea of main idea and details. With that being said, it is now time for me to turn everything over to Ms. Bernita.
Thank you, Robin, very much. And I am about to begin. Great. So the instructional format for Ready Gen is the gradual release of responsibility by P. David Pearson. We do it together, you do it with the partner, or you do it alone. Again, the e-text that I'll be focusing in on is the snowy day. With the broader topic of weather, I want the children to just get the mindset of what is weather all about and the compelling question as well. As we explore the snowy day, I'll be looking at particularly the compelling question. I'll break it into half. I'll ask the students, what ways can weather make us feel? I'm hoping they'll say it can make us feel happy or sad or cold or wet. We'll talk about it physically and emotionally as well. And the last part of that compelling question, how can we take care of ourselves in any weather? So I'm hoping that they'll talk about the proper attire or outfits to wear on that particular day. As it relates to the standard RL K.10, I'll be addressing the item focus skill comprehension strategies with the emphasis on making inference and using prior knowledge. And with that being said, I would like to let you know that I have already arranged some things in my library. We have already customized. We've talked about that previously. So I just want you to know that my playlist is already ready for the students. I do all of this through planning. This is not all delivered on the same day. It's over a course of several days as the students prepare. But as I introduce the snowy day, I want to let them hear a video that is also from ACT Mosaic. Kindergartners love song, music, rhymes, and so I'll just play. They'll listen to this during the streaming when they log into Google Classroom.
How's the weather? How's the weather? It's sunny. It's sunny. How's the weather?
And so they'll listen to that as an introduction. And also I want the students to get into the mindset of what is snow? How is snow formed? So they'll have an opportunity to listen to this.
Snow is part of what we call precipitation, which also includes rain, hail, and sleet. All snowflakes have 6 sides, which is called a hexagon. Snow forms when the temperature outside gets close to or below freezing.
All right, so we're going to take this video to our science class because we talked about 32 degrees, what is snow, what is precipitation, and also we'll take it to math because they will need to know what is a hexagon, 6-sided figure. So this is a wonderful way to do integration. My last video is the most important one to me because I'm trying to not only address the broader topic with the compelling question, I want them to know how to use comprehension strategies of inference. And so they'll have on a following day or somewhere within the course of days, the video on inference.
Here's another example. Since you're a dog owner now, what if you found your dog in your room, on your bed, with your half-eaten math book, and a very guilty look on her face? What do you think happened here? What do you already know about the situation? You know that your dog really likes to chew on books. You know that you left your math book on your desk.
So the students will need to know that clues plus evidence will help them to come up with an inference for the particular story. Now, as I go to the snowy day, I have already bookmarked some pages as the instructor that I really want to bring out. So the first page is the cover page, page 31. Page 34, there's a question that I will pose. How do you prepare for any type of weather? Noticing that Peter has on a snow suit. And so I want them to just see that they can prepare by wearing appropriate clothing. And the author goes on to say that after breakfast, he put on his snow suit. So they'll focus in on that. And then I'm going to ask them an inference question from this very same page. Why did Peter run outside on that snow day? And so we need them to know that when the teacher tells you you can go to recess, usually boys and girls start running if they're not asked to line up, because what does that mean? They're feeling excited and happy about the opportunity to go outside to play. On page 51, I have already bookmarked He's in from being outside exploring, and the sentence reads, he told his mother all about his adventures while she took off his wet socks. The author didn't say, but why can we infer that his socks are wet? Outside in the snow, what happened? So that's one or another opportunity to infer. On page 54 of the selection, here is something that's really delightful. It says, before he got into bed, he looked in his pocket. His pocket was empty. The snowball wasn't there. Boys and girls, what happened to the snowball? They've got to infer. The author didn't say, but we need to maybe talk about science in that 32-degree temp. If it's above that, the snow may begin to melt and that he lost his snowball. So that's an opportunity for inference as well. So this is a delightful story, teachers. If you get a chance, the snowy day, you can deal with inference. You can help students build their background knowledge and assess their prior knowledge about various topics as well. And last but not least, and let me just go, they will have an opportunity to take a test, the snowy day test, and it's for kindergartners as well. And so what it does, it reads the vocabulary word directions.
I am going to read the snowy day. Then I will ask you some questions about the meanings of some words in the story.
I'm going to stop it, and then here's the question.
Listen to this sentence from the story. The snow was piled up very high along the street to make a path for walking. What does piled mean? Select the picture that shows the meaning of the word piled.
And so
Listen to this sentence.
There are 15 questions. The first 5 deal with vocabulary. The next set deals with reading analysis. And the last set deals with phonics. So they're able to, the teachers can assess students' knowledge with this particular story. Excellent way to combine all the materials that you need to put into your library so that on instructional day, you can just select what you need on the varying days. As I prepare to close out this morning, let me just come back to my present screen. I love virtual tips. So I just want to leave you with maybe 3. So as you notice, I like to build my own content. I like to create it so that it becomes a bundle. Not all of my resources are within the Realize platform. So to create content there, you can just click on that create content button, add it. You have the URL link. You can add links in and files and videos as you've just seen me do, and host it all in your My Library. Another tip, this one, you will notice that as you are exploring the Realize platform for ELA, K5, and the upper levels as well, you're going to see these icons. The first one, you'll see a lock, and you'll see the lock means that this item is for teacher use only. You cannot assign this item to your students. The next figure you see looks like a person and something is in front of them, meaning it's hidden. This item is currently hidden from your students. Once you assign the item, your students will be able to see it. The next icon looks like an open book, which means it's found on the Realize Reader selection. The next one is the icon for mastery. If you're giving an assessment and you see that little squiggly line, it means that that score counts toward mastery. Last but not least, you see Newton, the icon for Newton. This item contains Newton adaptive content. Please follow us. We're so happy to be on Twitter at JCPS Savvis P plus coaches or JCPS_P. And we will try to share relevant information with you as often as possible. Robin and I are hosting office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:30. Please email Robin at robin.talbotporter@savvis.com or myself at bernita.mosley@savvis.com. You may join us through the Zoom link at the bottom of the page. Most importantly, I will be remiss if I didn't say, if you have any additional questions, please go to My Savvis Training. There are a host of books and videos and reference material for you to use as you further explore the Savvis Realize platform. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share with you today. I'm going to stop sharing now, and it's been quite a pleasure. And I love the assistance all of us receive every day from your district. So thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. We appreciate you being here every week, and it's been just a wonderful month of having Savas on the Digital Learning Channel. So thank you so much. Great stuff as always, Bernita and Robin. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. It is 9:29. Let's take a look at our schedule. We just got done with Math 3 through 5 and ELA K through 5. Coming up next, we have the one and only Chris Peterson talking about using tools in Desmos with Envision for Math 6 through 12. But before we get there, remember, on Twitter, you can follow us at JCPSDigIn, and when you tweet, use the hashtag JCPSDigIn so we can see it, we can spread it around the district, and continue to grow our brilliance together. Additionally, make sure that you subscribe to the Digital Learning Channel while you're here. That way you can be notified every time we go live, and so that way you will have quick access to our videos when we upload them. Remember, all of our sessions that we have today, we will cut them up afterwards. I'll be working on that this afternoon, breaking them apart and posting them in 30-minute chunks on the Digital Learning Channel. So, if you're with us in the chat, please let us know where you're from. If you have any questions, we have tons of Savas All-Stars in there with us answering your questions, and I'm going to turn it over to another one right now, Chris Peterson. How's it going, man?
Matt, thank you, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm great, thank you.
You guys get any snow up there in Kentucky?
I think we're supposed to get some later today, but we haven't gotten any yet, so.
Gotcha. Terrific. We dealt with tornadoes down here in Alabama the other day, so that's all the excitement we get here. So.
Wow, all right.
All right, let's get busy. Good morning, everybody. I'm Chris Peterson, and I am the Savas representative for 6 through 12 math, and I am here today to show you a few things about the Savas platform and the Envision Math program. So we're here for you guys, and we are happy to service you with your needs and using our platform and our programs as a resource. So I'm going to give you my contact information a little bit later. First of all, if you're new to getting on the Savas platform, Savas Realize, you're going to find a page, an icon on your Clever page that's going to say Savas Easy Bridge. Once you go on to that, you're going to look for the Savas Realize icon, and you're going to set your account up through that Savas Realize platform. That's where your programs are housed. Your Envision, ELA, My Perspectives, Elevate Science, all of those are housed on the Realize platform. So that's what you're looking for to set your account up. I'd be glad to help anyone with that if you have questions getting into it, just to start off. Found a neat study about homework and math, parents helping kids with math the other day. The study found that parents can do 1/3 of their kids' math, but struggle with the other 3/4 of the homework. So I thought that was a pretty interesting stat, showing where our parents stand right now with their math abilities. So keep that in mind as you're assigning homework and looking at your students' work, if their parents help them with it. So anyhow, we're going with that. Today, I want to talk to you about the tools that are available for students and for teachers to use in the Envision program. I'm here at my Realize homepage, and we're going to go to Browse to get to all of our programs. And I've got 3 of them starred as my favorites. You can see the gold stars that I'm going to use today. The first one we're going to get into is I'm going to show you some pieces of the algebra and what the algebra tools would look like built in within a lesson. We're going to go into our table of contents level, and we're going to find topic 6. This may be about where you guys are. I tried to pick something close to where I thought you might be. And we're going to use lesson number 2, okay, on exponential functions. Alrighty. Now, all the prior stuff is nice in there and to introduce the kids to the lesson, but I want to get into the example. Okay, this example right here, example number 1. When you assign this to your students, okay, they're going to get it in their assignments bar, and I'll show you what it looks like from a student view in just a moment. Well, this is their example right here. Okay, what does the graph f of x equals 2 to the x power look like? Well, it's very nice that they give the students a common error, okay? They clarify that first. So any common misconceptions or errors are automatically addressed with students, okay? So, and this one has never going to have a value of 0, so it's not going to cross the x-axis. So that's going to tell them that. So we must ask students that. What is it going to look like if it never crosses the x-axis? Well, it's going to stay up in the top quadrants of the graphing chart, okay? So we can click on the solution, and it's going to show them what it looks like. Now, the nice thing about this is they give you values for all of the numbers, okay, for a few of the integers going from x, okay, -2, -1, 0, all the way up to 3, okay? The nice thing about this graph is you can zoom out, okay, and zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, okay? Now, the nice thing about this is it lets students and it lets you, okay, if you're doing the instruction, work with your students and start adding more values to this, okay? So let's try one. If x were to be 4, Matt, 2 to the 4th power equals how much? Can you help me out on this, Matt? He must have stepped away. That's
yeah,
fine.
I did.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
2 to the 4th power would be what?
16.
16, all right, good. So let's type in 16, and you can see that if we scroll out on our graph, very good, it fits right there on our graph nicely. So this is a tool that you can use as a teacher during your instruction. X to the 5th power would be 32. We can zoom out a little more, and yes, there it is at our 32. So this is a nice piece. Then it allows you or the students, okay, to go in and type in a function formula, okay? F of x equals, well, let's see here. X, if x equals 5, then you can type it in like that, and you can get it on the graph to see if you. And another nice thing is it explains it again, okay? Right here to the students, this common error. As x value approaches -infinity, the y value approaches 0. So it's telling them a different way that it's never going to intercept the x-axis. So these tools right here, Desmos tools, are built in for you in the AGA program. Very nice to use, very beneficial for your instruction, and very beneficial for the students to use as they're doing their work, okay? Super. Now, let's go to the 8th grade program to show our middle school teachers what their tools are going to look like in this, okay? I'm in the 8th grade program. I'm going to go to topic 5. Once again, that may be about where you guys are, just past it, I'm not sure. And I'm going to go to lesson 2. Once again, dealing with graphing, so I can show you the graphing part of Desmos. And once again, all this beginning stuff is nice, but when we get into the examples for the students to work, let's look at example 1. Here it is, okay? And it's a nice, in the middle school and elementary school programs, it's a nice little visual animation to show them how the problem looks. What is the problem about, okay? And in this case, we've got a person that's choosing a phone plan. So they're going to have to decide which phone plan is best for them. And we're trying to get the kids to understand that they can use a graphing equation to solve this, okay? So it goes through all of the setup and all of the data that they're going to need and setting it up and whatnot like that, okay? So then it's going to become interactive. It's going to say start activity, okay? So we're going to have to create the slope and the equation for this by typing in the formula. And it's real nice because students can do this with you synchronously before you send them off on their own, okay? 2x plus 75, righty? Then we're going to type in the second equation, 0.25x plus 70, because the plans are $75 flat and then 20 cents per minute and yada, yada like that. So now we can see, okay, and you're going to be the instructor that shows the students, well, this is our graph for the cost of 20 cents per minute, the green is, and the 25, the purple is 25 cents per minute. So this tool is built in for the students to use during your instruction, which is awesome to use, okay? During your instruction synchronously with them, it's there. It's going to be there for them on their homework, okay? So we've got it set up, so let's click next and see how it looks. And it goes on to tell them the instruction that you might want to cover with them, or the video will do it, okay? So it shows them how the prices of each phone company compares with the cost and per minute and everything like that. So those tools are built in there for them. You'll notice that it has these pauses, okay? In every level of our program, K through 12, these pauses are automatically built in. These are great opportunities for your formative assessment, for you to get in there and see what students are struggling with, for you to make sure that they're understanding and going forth like that. So those pauses are built in nicely for you. You can always pause it if there's a question comes up, of course, just like I just did. But those pauses are built in automatically for you. And it goes forth. Now, the nice thing, we're not done, because there are more tools up here, okay, in the upper right. Students can get to them, teachers can get to them during their instruction, okay? Here's the Desmos pieces that I showed with the high school, and it's still interactive. But this additional math tools, okay, offers you, your students, many more pieces and many more items to find and use to answer their problems on their page. So this is nice that they can use this and take a picture. Now, notice it opened it in a new tab. Students may freak out and say, where's my work? Well, remind them that it's open in a new tab. These tools are, so they have to go back here to their tools. Let's select a company. I know that A is wrong. Let's select it. I got it wrong. Okay, so company B, there we go. And it's going to go ahead with the conclusion of the video. So folks, those tools in the AGA program and in the 6 through 8 program are there for you guys to use, okay? They're there for you to use, and they're there for the students to use, all right? Awesome. Now, let me show you the next piece that I want to go to, okay? I have assigned, let's go to my class, I'm going to start back, and I'm going to go to my classes tab. And I have made an assignment today. I actually made 2 to my 7th grade class, okay? I've assigned them the Interactive Student Edition, grade 7, lesson 1, lesson 4.1, and also the Do You Understand, Do You Know How from 4.1, because I want you to see what it looks like from a student point of view, okay? I've opened an incognito tab, okay, which allows me to be logged in as my teacher self here. And as a student here. So I'm now showing you the student screen, okay? They have the same setup, the browse, the classes, the grades. Here's your classes. This is where they're going to find their assignments. So their assignments today, okay, you can see up here they have tabs, not started, in progress, and completed. The ones that I assigned are already in progress because I logged in this morning to make sure they were showing up. So I didn't have any problems with it. So let's go to in progress. Here, you can see that it's in due date order. Okay, you can change it to put the newest ones on top by the students can by clicking this little arrow right here. Now I've got the newest ones on the top. Okay, because their tools that they're going to have are different for different pieces of the program. Okay, first of all, they're interactive student edition assignments. Okay, if it's interactive in any piece, in any way, okay, they're going to have tools. Okay, they're going to have tools that allow them to answer these interactive pieces. All right, and here are their tools right here. okay, that they may want to use for this. These are the tools that they're going to have for this. Okay. The menu is their notebook. They can also get to the notebook down at the bottom right here if they wanted to complete it in their notebook. So on any kind of interactive piece, they're going to have these tools right through here. Let's go to the next page. Once again, here's the video, the visual learning video, okay? Continuing on through the assignment. Okay, it's interactive, so they're going to have to choose answers at some point, okay, and all of that, and write items in there. Let's see here. So it reads it to them, which is nice, all righty? And here are their tools, this little plus button up here. So let's say additional math tools, English, Spanish glossary, okay, the math tools. Once you're in this, it's going to open here. Let's use integer chips, okay, and it's going to open it in a new tab. All right, so we're going to add here and play it in and all that. So it's back over here, okay, and then you can look at your answer through that, all righty? So that's the nice thing about that, is it has those tools. Now, the other assignment is not interactive. It is strictly a PDF file that you have assigned, okay? And how do I know it's a PDF file? Because when you look at it as the teacher, let me go and show you how you know it's a PDF. For one, do you know how? Do you understand? I'm going to know it's a PDF because it's going to have download right here. Students would actually find this in the print copy, okay, but it's also available digitally for students, okay, and students can edit it. We have a PDF editor. That's what I'm about to show you, okay, but it's downloadable, so you know it's a PDF, okay. Here we go. Let's click on it. I'm back as the student. I've opened it now. Here are all of their tools to edit this PDF, okay? Here are all of their tools. If they have an iPad, they can use a little thing, a pencil to, I can't think of the word for it, to write on it, okay? They also have a text box where they can put in a text box, okay? And put it in, hello, teacher. Alrighty, and they can turn work in like that. They can draw on it, okay? They can make lines and whatnot on here, okay? And so there's all of these tools up here as a PDF editing piece to your files. Then all they would do is turn it in, bing. Warning, after clicking turning in, the teacher will not see any additional work you complete on the assignment. So they've got to be aware, once you turn it in, it's turned in for good, okay? So we're going to click turn in. There we go. Now I'm going to go back as the teacher. Let me show you how to find their work. We're going to go to classes. That's where you're going to find their daily work. The data is for mastery tests, okay? But classes, we're going to go to the 7th grade class. Here it is, the do you understand and do you know how, and it shows me that one student just completed it. So let's go to it, view student status, and that student number 1 completed it. So let's open it and go to it, review and score. Hello. There we go. Okay. So you can look at it and score it. Say you did none of the work. So there's your nice little 0 you got, just scribbling on it and telling me hello. And it saves the score automatically. Okay. Now, nice thing about it, you can go back and change the score if students, you can reassign it, number 1. Okay. You can reassign it to them and they can complete it again. But it's always going to save the score automatically for you. Okay. And it opens in our assignment viewer. Alrighty. Once again, here are the tools. You can write on it. Okay. You can draw, you can write notes, whatever you want to do. Okay. Hello, student. So you can make comments on it and everything like that to return it to them. All righty. Then once you grade it, it returns it to them, and they will be able to get it. Okay. Nice thing, you can download it right here. You can say, Mr. and Miss Peterson, Chris is not doing very well in his work. Here's a sample of it. There we go. Please have him do his work. All righty. Okay, let's see, where am I? I've gone through the PDF tools and the other tools that are available. Jamboard, using Jamboard. This is a great opportunity when you're doing this instruction to incorporate the Jamboards into these examples that students are doing and items like that. Okay? So that's there for you. And those are the tools that are available to you guys as the teacher and as students that they have to use. Now, I want to jump ship for a moment, and I want to go into another area. We get reports about the usage data of our programs there in JCPS, and I wanted to share some exciting news with you, okay? We have been looking at it, and each week we can get a report. We ask our managers to run them, and they go through it, and we look at it and see what's trending and see what's going on. And I have some nice news, and I think everyone is on the correct path, okay? I'm going to go to the 8th grade program now. There are a lot of pieces that are really nice to use, okay? That are really nice to use. I tell you what, let's go to the 6th grade program because I've used 7th and 8th already. So let me go to the 6th grade program just to be fair. There are a lot of pieces that have been used quite a bit according to our data, and let me show you some of them and what they can do. Okay? Some of the pieces that have been used, okay, are the visual learning, okay, those examples, okay, because students can get to these after you assign them. This little icon right there, it's hidden from your students until the teacher assigns it. But they, once assigned to them, they can always get to these examples. They can get to it synchronously with you or asynchronously when you're not there. They always have access to them once you assign them. Folks, you can assign multiple examples at one time by clicking in the green boxes over here to the left and then scrolling back up to the top and saying assign these selected 3 pieces. And then you would put in all of your info. So that's one piece that we're finding is getting used quite a bit, which makes us very excited because these can be completed synchronously or asynchronously, okay? The visual learning videos, okay? Another piece that's being used quite a bit is this section on practice and problem solving, okay? And the part that's being used a lot are these Math Excel activities. Let me share with you the excitement about these. There's a Math Excel for practice and problem solving, additional practice, okay? Then if you scroll down, there's even a Math Excel part for enrichment for our students that need that push, that enrichment opportunity. So the nice thing about these Math Excel activities, wow, is that when students are working on this without the teacher there, they can always use this blue box for question help, right? They can go back and they can look at an example. They can get help solving it. They can watch that instructional video again. They have the math tools again, okay? So this is another piece, this Math Excel, that can be implemented synchronously or asynchronously. So we're excited to see that many, many teachers are using this. Then the last piece I wanted to show you that we're excited about you all using is the Assess and Differentiate section, okay? Because it offers, once again, a piece for remediation, this reteach to build understanding. It offers a piece for additional vocabulary support, and it offers an example, a piece for enrichment here, and the Math Excel enrichment comes in there also. And I went through last week. You can find my video from last week about the lesson quiz, how to use it and assign it, okay? And it automatically assigns some remediation or enrichment for those students that need it. So that's in my video from last week, okay? It's there for you. So according to our data, these pieces are being used quite efficiently. And like I said, synchronously, asynchronously, it all is terrific to lend itself to those types of learning from our students, okay? Let's see here. I wanted to show you a couple of quick things. Savas has its own YouTube channel with plenty of videos for you to go and watch to learn. Once in our video channel, you can search for the, let's see, let me click again. Well, the search feature is not working right now. But you could search for Envision videos, okay? If you wanted to find them, that's there for you. Also, we have a website, My Savas Training, that you can register for. You have access to it with your the district purchase of the Savas programs, and there are helpful handouts and pieces on there, videos, handouts for you to look on and learn about our programs there. Okay? Let me finish up by showing you my contact information, and I'll get Linda, I think she's in the chat, to help with this. My email, you can always reach me, Chris.Peterson. Yes, hello?
I said it's in there.
Savas.com. Then I have a Cloud HQ calendar where it syncs with my Google Calendar. You can always sign up for a session or multiple back-to-back sessions or whatever at this address on my Cloud HQ. I can work with you as an individual teacher. I don't mind meeting with the entire school, okay, math teachers of the whole school, and go through stuff. And be sure to follow us on Twitter. We have a team Twitter account, JCPS_P. It's the Savas JCPS coaches team, and we put out stuff that we find that's helpful to you guys in the Jefferson County schools. And I also have my own individual Twitter account, Mr. Peterson Teach. So be sure to give us a follow, and we like posting and sharing great items like that. So I think that's going to do it for me. Let's see here. Let me come back here to stop sharing. All righty. How are we? Matt, are we good right now?
Yeah, it looks great. Everything's good. Thanks, Chris. Awesome session again, man. Always crushing it.
Surely. Nice to be here today. Y'all have a great day up there.
Thank you. You too. All right, and thank you everyone for tuning in for Chris's math session right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule for the rest of the day. We are approaching our 10 o'clock hour, which means we have 3 sessions left to go before we take our lunch break and before our afternoon session starts. So, coming up next here in just a few minutes, we have Donna Cost talking about My Perspective 6 through 12, Make It Your Way. Following that, we have Kelly Palsrock with Elevate Science, and then we have Donna coming back again to close us out at 11. This afternoon, we've got a different kind of slate for you. No Savas involved there. We've got some JCPS virtual clubs with some district folks. Then we have The Perfect Blend, chapters 1 through 4, and then a little bit later we have 5 through 8, and then 9 through 11. Kind of interspliced within there, we have Nearpod that'll be on the channel at 1:30, and then we have at 2:30 something I'm super excited about, which is our Girls Who Game team at Lassiter Middle. So Girls Who Game is a program that we do in collaboration with Dell and Microsoft, where it sees girls in grades 4 through 8 partnered up with female leaders in the tech industry, and they use Minecraft to solve a community culminating task, and it's really, really awesome. We're about to have like 13 more teams in the district starting this like upcoming month. So, while you're with us, please make sure that you follow us on Twitter at JCPSDigIn, and when you tweet, use the hashtag JCPSDigIn. That way we can see it, we can like it, we can retweet it, and we can continue to spread and share our brilliance together across the district, excuse me, and across the state. And make sure that you subscribe to JCPS Digital Learning Channel while you're here. That way you can see when we go live and when we post these videos. Remember, all of these sessions we have today, we will go back and break up into 30-minute videos, and that way you can go and easily watch whatever you choose, and these will all be posted on our Savvis support playlist. So, we are coming into our 10 o'clock session here. Donna, go ahead and take it away for us if you're ready. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Matt. How do I sound?
Good. You're a little quiet.
Yeah, got my headphones on.
There you go. It might have just been where your microphone was down a little bit, too.
All right, awesome.
Yep, that's better.
Glad to be with you again this week. I took a week off and let some of my other colleagues do some additional sessions. So like today, I'm going to do 2. Somebody else did 2 last week. So it's good to be back. But I have lots to show you. I'm not even going to bother with my PowerPoint right now. I'll show you my contact information at the end because I really have a lot that I wanted to do. So let's go. Share my screen.
And while Donna's getting set up here, if you're following along with us live, go ahead and let us know where you're from and what you teach. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them in the chat. All right,
how do I look, Matt?
It looks great. Oh, sorry. It looks great. You're good to go.
Okay, fabulous. All right. So in some previous sessions, we talked about, I know I spent one of the last ones doing my library and showing you how you can customize your program and develop these playlists. There are other types of things that you can customize, and that's what I wanted to show you today. One of the things that I think would be most useful are assessments. Again, I know that my perspectives teachers are using the program as a resource. You are not going from start to finish, but that doesn't mean you wouldn't be interested in using some of the assessments that we have. So I'm on my table of contents. Again, mine might look different because it will default to thumbnail view. I told you I don't like that. My brain likes to just go down. Here is the assessment folder, and anytime you see the orange tile with the check mark, that is the symbol for an assessment. And you'll see that we have several different types. Now, of the kinds that are in here, I think what is most valuable for teachers who are using my perspectives are the selection tests and the extension selection tests. You'll notice a couple of different icons here. This is a great thing to use for distance learning. Both of these are unavailable to student view unless assigned. Now, unit tests, beginning, middle of the year tests, I don't think you'll find very valuable because I know you're not using the program from start to finish. If you do decide to teach an entire unit and use all of the text within a unit test might be something you want to check out. The other 2 areas that I think you might find valuable are the next generation practice and performance tests, simply because these are some great tools that you could use. I know you're no longer Common Core, but your standards are still very similar. So this college and career readiness practice test may be a nice tool for you to just pull some questions out of, maybe just get some standardized test practice by pulling out questions here or there. But what I want to show you how to do is customize. So I'm going to show you a selection test. I'm looking at a 7th grade program, 6th through 8th grade. You have 5 units. Remember, 9 through 12, you have 6. And, pardon me. We have a test for pretty much every single piece of text in the program, divided up by units here. And I was going to showcase the Christmas Carol from 7th grade. And you'll notice a couple of things here once you get in. You have quite a few selection tests because, again, every single text has a digital, a print, and an answer key. So you'll see that go in order: digital, print version, and your answer key as you scroll through. Now you may notice differences here. I have an extra button, so to speak, on Act 1 versus Act 2. And that's because I customized, which is what I'm here to show you today. And once you customize, you're going to see this extra button appear showing you that you have customized it and that you have made more than one version of the test. Something that does not have the button, this is just the original. And keep in mind, when you do customize something, you will always be able to use the original. Now, again, this is hidden from view This symbol here, the little line graph, is showing you that this is going to test towards mastery, and this is going to be auto-scored. Some of the tests vary. If the students do any kind of extended response, you, the teacher, have to grade that. But all of the multiple choice questions are going to be auto-scored, and they're going to show up in your data as soon as they submit. It's a really awesome tool. So let's take a look at what I did to customize and get versions. So number one, to see my versions, I just want to click on that button. And underneath, you can see that I have a version that I named Form B. And I can always go back and edit that form if I feel that I need to change it. So let's see how I got here. This button, Customize, is what you want to click on. So this is what you see when you click Customize. And this would be true for any kind of thing that you customize. Regardless if you happen to not be an ELA teacher and you're watching this. All tests and quizzes kind of follow the same procedure. One of the easiest things to do is rearrange. By clicking Rearrange, I see all of the questions in order, and it's just a matter of moving them around. This is a great way, especially when you guys get back in-person learning. Granted, you'll still be 6 feet apart, I assume. But that's a great way to just make different versions of your test. You didn't change questions at all, but you mixed them up, which will definitely decrease the cheating, because when those wandering eyes look over at their neighbor's computer and they see that their question one doesn't match their neighbor's, well, now they'll maybe just keep their eyes on their own, thinking that they're all taking a different test. The next thing that you can edit are the actual directions. So you just click on the pencil and you can title your test whatever you like. It will automatically say copy 1, copy 2, but like the one I showed you, I called it Form B. You can change that here. The other thing that you can do is change whether or not this is going to count towards mastery. I don't recommend it if you want to collect data. It will default to yes, but you are able to change it to no if you don't want that, whatever you're planning to do to your test, if you don't want that included in the data. When you're done, you would just click Save. And then we come to the questions themselves. I highly recommend, if you are going to use any of our assessments, that you go through the questions. Selection tests, for the most part, are all going to be directly related. But maybe you don't want 22 questions. Maybe you just want to make this more of a quiz, and you can eliminate questions by simply clicking on the garbage can, maybe get it down to 10 questions. Some of these questions are going to be 2-part. Again, we are trying to prepare students for standardized testing, and this is going to be great practice for that. The other thing you'll notice on the side is it's letting you know what standards this question is related to. And you can just hover over those numbers and see exactly what that standard is. Again, I know that these standards match pretty closely what your standards are for JCPS. So getting rid of one is very easy to do. To read the questions, notice this one says hide, where all of these said show. You just go through. When you're done reading that question, you just go to the next. And again, if you see one you don't like, click on the garbage can. But what if you want to add something? So you'll notice between these questions that it says add items from the test bank. Wherever you happen to be in the order of questions and you click on this, you would be inserting a question between the original questions 5 and 6. So let's see what happens when you do that. This will open up the different types of standards that you can use. Now you can search by the test banks, or you can use keyword. Test banks is by far easier. You have to be very specific about what keyword you're looking for. So I recommend searching by standard. Now in this case, I'm doing a Christmas Carol, so I want literature. Now I could check this box right now, but that would mean it's going to show me every single question related to literature. And I'll tell you, my Perspectives is a quite thorough program. That's going to give you many, many, many questions. You have a pull down arrow, which I recommend. Click on that, and now we can break it down by standard. So I recall in 7th grade, Unit 2, two of the standards that you are trying to concentrate on are Standard 3 and Standard 5. So I would just click those boxes and I would come up here and click Search Selected Standards. And what it's done now, it reminds me of the standards I have chosen. It is showing me that these are the first 10 of 25 different test banks, and I have 528 questions total from which to choose, which is huge, right? And then as you scroll through, you'll notice this is a test from the poetry collection. And I didn't read that poetry collection or this poetry. Here's the test I'm actually doing. If I were to pull questions from here, they're going to be repeats. So you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Maybe I want to see what kinds of questions are in the mid-year test, because I know I'm not going to give that whole test. So I would click on the pull-down arrow, and now I can see how many questions are in this test. I would operate exactly the same as before by showing the question so I can see what it is. I can also see, you'll notice here on the side, what the standard for the different questions are. So this test contains many different standards, but I said I wanted to concentrate on Standard 3 and Standard 5. So here's a question that's related to Standard 3. I would open this question, and I think that this is something that I could test their knowledge of informational text. They would be able to do this on their own. I would just check the box, scroll back to the top, and again, you can choose as many questions as you want in this fashion. And when you're done, you just click, I'm done adding questions. And what you'll see when you get to where you were, notice question 5, question 6, question 7, but this is labeled question 14. This is the question that I pulled from the test bank. It's that easy. And if, again, I change my mind, all I have to do is click the garbage can, and I can get it right out of there. If I change my mind again, I can undo it and put it right back in. So when I'm finished customizing my test, I'm going to come up here to the top, and I'm going to say done. And when I do that, you'll see attached and already open directly underneath the original version is my modified version or my changed customization. If I decide at any point I want to go back and revisit some of these questions, I would click edit. If I decide I didn't like this, I didn't get the results I needed, I could simply remove this version. Really, really easy to do. Next, I want to show you about a print version, because the one thing that you may have noticed in an online digital version is I couldn't actually change the question. That's because these are auto-scored. And if you change any part of the question, it can't be auto-scored. So maybe you want more customizations than that. Maybe you want to alter the test where you eliminate distractors for your special ed or your ELL students. What you may want to use are the printable versions. So these are going to download into Word, but you're going to notice that you can't do anything with them besides type in a name and put an answer on the line. That's because they're in protected mode. So what you have to do is download them, and I'll show you what you need to do to take them out of protected mode. So once you download them and enable it for editing, you want to come up here to review. And once you click on review, you're going to see over here, it says protect with a little lock. You're going to click on that and click on restrict editing. And you'll get the side window. And you can remove the protections. I think I've already done that on this. I thought I had everything all set up for you. There would be a button to remove the protections. And once you remove the protections, you can alter the questions any way you like. Maybe you don't want to have 4 distractors. So you could just eliminate what you need to eliminate so that your special ed students are only seeing two distractors or three distractors. I'm not going to save anything. I'm trying to go fast here. And then when you're done, you would enforce the protection again. Now it asks you for a password, which is not necessary. You would just click OK. And then from here, you would need to save this to your computer. And then I'll show you how to get it back on so that you can assign it. So I'm going to minimize this again. I will exit out of here. So there is yet another type of thing that you can do to edit your Realize program, and that's use this edit button right here. When you click on edit, notice it looks similar to when we were customizing a test. You can remove things. Again, I don't recommend it. You can always put original content back in, but you have to be very specific in searching for it, and it can be a little tedious. But the add feature is going to work very similarly. So it would just be a matter of clicking add, and now you have all these choices. And if you had saved that Christmas Carol to your computer, it would just be a matter of uploading a file. You can attach from the computer, from your Google Drive, the Microsoft OneDrive. So if I wanted to go to my 7th grade, and here's a test that I made, I changed it, I named it, I put it in my file. Now I can just put it right here. I can give it a name. Christmas Carol quiz. Oh, I'm not spelling correctly. You don't have to put in a description. It's optional. I click, oh, sorry. Gotta check the box that I agree this is something that I am allowed to use. And it will miraculously appear right in your list. If that's where you want it to be, click save. And now you will see your new print test right along with the others. So you'll notice over here things changed where you can always go back and view the original content. So never worry that if you change something to your program that you can't go back and see what it looked like before you started making modifications. All right, the last thing about editing, I want to go to your actual, to where the actual texts are. So that Christmas Carol is in Unit 3. So here you can see I customized right here in my Savvis Realize account, and it's telling me that I customized it, and it gives me the date. And when I open up, oh, look, here's where I put a quiz. Here's where I customized a test. And I'm able to put them right with my texts as well. So you can customize your Savvis Realize account where you want, where you feel it is best for you to have your content. If you, again, you click edit, you're going to have these add buttons. So I just want to point out a couple other things. Besides uploading a file, you can insert a link. And then I like to point out this add a more available content items. When you click there, I'm not going to repeat things that I did in earlier sessions. I'm going to challenge you to go back and watch them. This is going to look very similar to the resources tab when you are looking for your resources. This is showing me that I'm looking in my 7th grade program. I can use my filters along the side, but let's say that I wanted to see results from Mosaic. Maybe I saw something in Mosaic related to a Christmas Carol, and I would like to put it right at point of use in my program. So I was looking at Christmas Carol things earlier, and I noticed that there was something in here that I liked. And it was this analysis by Mr. Bruff. I really like his analysis videos. So things are going to look a little different than when you do a regular search. You're going to notice that I have little boxes along the side. And, oh, I like this Fezziwig thing also. So I'm going to click these videos that I saw in here that I really liked that go with a Christmas Carol. And once I click on them, I just click done. And now you can see they've added these videos right at point of use within my Savvis Realize account, right in with my Christmas Carol text so that I don't forget. So again, I can always go back to the original and they will disappear from view. If I'm viewing customized, I'll be able to see the changes that I made. And finally, when you do this, everything goes into my library. And again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I did a video for you about how to create your library. But you'll notice all of these things that I was just doing, they just ended up here. I didn't even have to do anything. Anytime you customize content, it will be put into your library. Now, if you find that irritating and you don't want these extra things here, you can click on the 3 dots and you can remove them from here. They will not leave where you put them. You could also clean up this area by adding them to a playlist. And so if I already have a 7th grade Unit 2 playlist, I can just add those there. And then when I go to my playlist, I'll see, here's that video that I put in. So lots of different ways to customize. But the last thing I wanted to show you, I did talk a little bit last time about how to make your own test. I believe you do have to, this is a write my own questions. So I showed you how to pull from the test bank, but there is a way for you to build your own. Now say that you don't, this is just a quick quiz, you're just trying to check to see that students read the material. So you don't want that to count towards mastery. You can click no, but then you say write my own questions. You have a choice now that you didn't have before on how many chances the students can have at each question. I'm still going to say 1 try each, and then I'm going to click next. Now you have 2 choices here of the type of question. Remember, you can edit what I just did by clicking on that pencil, but you can add a multiple choice or a gridded response. Gridded response is for math. It needs to be a numeric answer, so we don't want that type of answer choice. We want multiple choice. So when you get here, all you have to do is start typing. When you click into a box, you'll notice you have some choices of font style, and you can insert images, which is really awesome. When you get to your distractors, you can have as many as you like. You may want to add more answer choices. So you fill in as many as you need, and then select where is your answer choice. And then when you're done, you just click save. And that will show up. I'm going to continue without saving right now. That will show up in your list that you have in your playlist, and you can put it wherever you want. So I made just a simple exit ticket just to try to get a feel. I tried using the audio in class, and I would just like some feedback from the students. So they're simple yes, no, and then I get my feedback. I'm able to get in touch a little bit with my students. So this build a test for doing something as simple as an exit ticket is really awesome. So that's everything I have on customizing. And I knew I wasn't going to fill my time completely with that. I had a wonderful session with some teachers from Ramsey, and they brought up an excellent question. And that was about, what does the student see with all of this assigning? So I wanted to use the rest of my time today to show you as much as I can, and I will challenge you because I know I can't show you everything. And I have my tabs all set up, and you may get a little bit lost. I challenge you to email me your questions, to sign up for a 30-minute session, because I would love to spend more time helping you use all of the features in Savvis Realize. So one of the things that they wanted to see was, how does this look from a student's side? So I have set up, hopefully things haven't timed out on me. I have a fake student. This is Katniss Everdeen, and she is in my little fake Google Classroom. And so when a student, goes to their Google Classroom, they can, let me go back. They're going to come to their stream, right? And then they want to see their classwork. So how does that work? They click on their classwork and they'll see this box. I believe it'll be closed. They have to click on it to open it. It would look like this. And then they see here is the Savvis Realize link. Now, if they click on View Assignment, I want to warn you, it does say over here on the right that they could mark this as done. And I will ask you to caution your students not to turn their work in from Google Classroom. It can cause glitches. The best way for them to turn in their work is from actual Savvis Realize. That's where they're going to be doing all of their work, and you'll have less chance of there being issues where the student said they turned it in, but on your side, it doesn't appear to have been turned in. When a student clicks on their assignment, it takes a few seconds to send them to Savvis Realize, or they can just click here, take me there now. If they are not signed into their account, they have to do that. And the very first time that they sign into their account, they're going to have to agree to a permissions, all that licensing kind of stuff. Now, see, Katniss is late on her assignment. And in this case, it's letting them know, heads up, this is past due, which brings up a good point. Students are allowed to turn things in late. They will be marked with this red exclamation point. But unless you decide you don't want to accept late work, they will be able to turn work in past the due date. So see here, it says turn in all. This is where the best place, in my opinion, is to turn in their work. Other things a student can do is leave you a comment, and you'll notice up here, I, the teacher, wrote Katniss a comment because what I noticed, this is a three-part assignment where I checked 3 boxes and assigned them all at once. So Katniss was supposed to read and listen to the summary before taking her little test. And I noticed she finished the test. How do I can see completed. I can see that this is green, where these 2 are blue and they say in progress. So I let her know, oh, you shouldn't really have done that. Thank goodness you did well. And she can write me a comment back if that's what she likes to do. So other things that she can do when they open their assignment, granted, if you just did a single piece, they're not going to see this particular view. But because I did more than one, there are actual tabs here. And notice the colors are the same. Blue is in progress, whereas green is completed. And if it is an auto-scored feature, you'll see she got her score immediately. She can go to those questions and see how she answered, and maybe consider how she got that wrong. Other things that she can do, mark as complete. She can go to the auto summary and mark as complete. She could turn in all, but really the best place is in their assignment area, turn in all. I just find that that's the most seamless way for students to turn in work. Things you may need to show them. This picture can kind of be in the way. So after they check out their characters and their background and information about the author, you may instruct them to hide the picture so that they have the full space of the screen to do their work. Things they can do, they can listen on their own. I don't know that you can hear that with my headphones on. They can adjust the speed to slow it down. Your ELL students may appreciate that. And they can highlight and annotate. Now, you may come up with a system of certain colors and certain types of highlighting may mean certain things for you. I know several schools use 3-2-1 annotation. So we have 4 colors they can use and up to 3 shapes. So you may want to come up with a system for students to use when it comes to highlighting and annotating. They can always go back and they can edit what they did. They can add an annotation. If you weren't sure where they did the other type of work, that's over here on the right side. So you may instruct them to only do the making meaning activities or to only do the language development activities. You may be even more specific and say, I only want you to do the close read. And so after they go through it with you, these are different activities. So if there's a worksheet of some type, they just click on it and it opens up. But this is their digital notebook. And they type in here and it will stick as soon as they do it. They can go back and edit. And you can even leave them notes. Now, I would love to show you even more about the student view versus the teacher view and what it looks like when they submit. But of course, there's only so much time in the day. So I will ask you again to contact me. I would love, love, love to hear from you. There's just so much to go over, and I know it can be confusing with the way I'm clicking because, again, I have things open already to just quickly get to them. So email me your questions. Go to our Padlet and sign up at the Cloud HQ link for a 30-minute session for yourself or for a group. The password on the Padlet, where I have some documents, is Teachers Rock. And please follow us on Twitter. We would love to hear more from you. So I will be back in half an hour to go over some Spanish resources. So if you are with us live today, that would be great to see you again. But otherwise, have a great day.
Yes. Thank you so much, Donna. We appreciate it, and we're super excited to have you back in another 30 minutes. So thank you. All right, everybody, it is 10:30, so before we move on to our next session with Kelly, let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule for the day. We just got done with Donna's first session, My Perspective 6 through 12, Make It Your Way. We're moving into Elevate Science K through 8, EText, and Leveled Readers with Kelly Palsrock. And then, just like Donna said, at 11 o'clock, she's going to come back one more time to round out our morning. Please, if you're following along, go ahead and follow us on Twitter as well, at JCPSDigIn. When you tweet, use the hashtag JCPSDigIn so we can follow, like, give you a retweet, and continue to share our brilliance around the district together. Kelly, I don't want to take any more of your time this morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks.
We've had some great presenters this morning. They're hard acts to follow.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah. So let me see here. I have to remember how to do this. There we go. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, go ahead.
Share screen. I think I'm sharing my screen.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yep. When you hit
there we go.
Yep.
Did it go?
Not yet. Nope.
You there? We're getting there.
There it is.
There
now
it
we can
is.
see it. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Just took a minute for it to kick in there. All right. But I need to do my closed captioning. I'm not seeing that coming
so
up
that
right
happens
now.
when you go to present your power or your slides right there.
All right.
Yep. So when you go to present.
All right. Here we go.
And then down towards the bottom, you just click where it says
Yep,
CC.
there's the closed captioning.
Perfect. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. So today we're going to talk about some the EText and the level readers that go along with Elevate Science. But Miller and Levine Biology and Experience Chem also have the EText. So I didn't want to leave the high school people out. They have EText that go along with their programs as well. And we had the privilege, Chris and Donna and I had the privilege of meeting with some Ramsey teachers. And from that, we learned a lot, as we always do. Whenever we work with teachers, we learn probably just as much as they do. So I want to just give a shout out to the Ramsey teachers and say thank you for sharing with us and allowing us to meet with them. We're going to take a look at the e-text, the online text that go along with the program. So just a brief reminder of how you get in to the platform for the Savvis Realize platform. You have to go in using Clever, and then you click on the Savvis Easy Bridge, and that will take you into Realize. So today, this is our platform, And I'm going to focus on Elevate Science, but if you're one of the high school teachers and you happen to be watching, this also applies to Miller and Levine Biology and Experience Chem. And we will be going live, but I would like to take you through some screenshots first before we go live. And one other thing I wanted to mention, as I did last week, is that when we think about Elevate Science, Miller and Levine Biology, Experience Chem, we know that in the science department, you have exceptional modules that have already been created for you by your science leads. And I like this analogy of the jar with the rocks in it. And the rocks are those JCPS modules that have been created. And the Elevate Science, Miller and Levine Biology, Experience Chem, those are your optional programs that can help you fill in. So those would represent the sand and help you as extra resources that can help your students and provide you other activities that will help you meet the standards for your kids to be experts on those NGSS and be competent across the board, getting them ready to be deep thinkers and science doers. So here we go. Let's talk about these e-texts that come with all of the courses that you will find in your digital programs. So if we look here on the page, when you find the course that you are interested in, you're going to see that you have the capability of clicking on e-text. Now, if you click on the e-text at the table of contents level, which is here, this is going to give you the entire e-text. And it is going to open in a new page, and I'm going to show you that when we go live. But I wanted to just give you a look very quickly before we do go live. So when you click on the e-text, you're going to see here that you have the e-text for the teacher, and you also have the e-text for the students. So both of those are available on the teacher platform. When the kids sign in, they are going to have the student e-text. So again, you're going to see that it's going to open in a new window. That's going to make it nice for you to toggle back and forth between your course and your digital platform. And this is what it's going to look like when you see it in that new window. And you're going to notice that you have a menu. And when you open that window, and I think Donna showed us this nicely in the previous program, that you have your table of contents. You're going to be able to use bookmarks. There's annotation and highlights. You have a notebook at your disposal, which you can write in, and you have a glossary. The kids are also going to have all of these tools at their disposal. So some of the things about the teacher e-text, when you start to look at it, you're going to see that you have, for every topic, you're going to have all the lessons outlined for you. You're also going to have some instructions for you on how the Elevate Science, Miller and Levine Biology are laid out with this connect, investigate, synthesize, and demonstrate instructional model, which goes along nicely with the engage, explore, explain and elaborate, and then evaluate the 5 E's if you're used to using that. You also will find scope and sequence. So for the middle school, you'll see grades 6, 7, and 8. In the Elevate Science, you can find grades K through 5 scope and sequence. You will also find all of the next gen science standards correlations. And I have been working along with the science leads to map out correlations between the JCPS modules and the Elevate Science programs. So again, if you'd like to see some of those, please contact me. either through my Cloud HQ or email me. And I do have documents that are correlating these so you can see exactly how the two programs fit together. So you can weave some of these interactivities that we offer on the Savvis platform in with the modules that you're doing that have been provided by JCPS. At the topic level, you'll also see overviews of the topic along with the lessons, and this gets into more detail. So these are planned out for you, and you are also going to be given some clocks here in the teacher EText that are going to give you some times, and they show you approximately how much time you might spend on each of these different activities that are provided for you in the programs. Notice down here, you're also going to see your next gen science standards. So again, makes it very user-friendly for linking the Elevate program with the JCPS modules. And again, I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes for you. Here's lesson 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we have a topic close. So this happens to come from the middle grades. This would be the book 2 and the cell system. And then you see down here, if you're short on time, it says use only the yellow clocks. That was meant for doing face-to-face instruction. So we have to modify that a bit if we're in our virtual world. And you'll also see here that we have some differentiated instruction provided for you. So the front matter for the teacher's edition is extremely beneficial. You'll also see then when you get into the topic that you have some materials here for some hands-on labs. It shows you the Connect version here, gives you materials list when we do go back face-to-face, everything that you might need for this. Again, the next generation standards are listed for you right there. And you also are given some differentiated instruction provided right there for you, very teacher-friendly. And you have some assessments, and it tells you where to go to find those. So it's linking the digital platform to what's in your eText. Okay. Also listed, as we dig a little further, it gives you the objectives for that lesson, and GSS listed again specifically for that lesson. It will give you a nice content refresher. I liked this portion of it here under the professional development. And it gives you guiding questions. So if you're looking to do some claim and evidence with your kids, you can give them a guiding question, then ask them to make a claim about that. And then they can dig into their student edition to come up with some text information about how they're going to support their particular claim. Because they can give us their opinions all day long and tell us what they think, but if we want them to make a claim about their scientific reasoning and what they're thinking, we want them to make a claim. Then we want them to dig into their student edition and come up with maybe some text evidence. Here on the next page, we have some ELD support down here. We have a reading check, just nice. So we can ask our kids to do this. Again, we can assign these if we would like. And then all of our digital components here that appear on the digital platform are listed for us. And over here with our reading check, this is going to help us as teachers. So this is our what we call the wraparound. So here, this is what the students are going to see. And here is our wraparound for our teacher's edition. Okay. Again, this is two sides to the teacher's edition. We also have literacy connections, very rich teacher's edition. So many things are listed here for us. We have differentiated instruction. This page, you'll see we have a math toolbox. So here we're going to help our kids with some math that might be integrated into the science. This is the student page that we're seeing. So there's our math toolbox. We have more differentiated instruction down here, and we have academic vocabulary. And I know it's very important with JCPS that we introduce the vocabulary once we get into the explain and explore sections of the lesson. The student e-text, they're going to, it's interactive, so it will read to the students. You'll see that they can download some things. The student e-text, very interactive. So where it says you connect it, they can open up a notebook. They can write in this notebook. They close it, it will save. This is available to the kids on and offline. If we go down a little further where it says organization of the body, we'll see that they have an academic notebook here. They also have a reading check where they can open up a notebook. They have a hands-on lab which they can download. There's the reading check. When they open it, it says support the author's claim. This is their math toolbox, so you can see where we're asking them to do math and science. I know our kids are going to say, what? This isn't math class. But yes, it's very important that they are working on their math outside of the math classroom. So this is their math toolbox. And when they're working in their student e-text, they again have they can search their table of contents. They have a notebook here. They can annotate and highlight. There's 4 different colors of highlights. They can do their annotations. Everything is saved right here in their e-text. They can go back. They can search. They have a search box if they want to search cells. They can bookmark things. They can also print if they would like. And they do have access to a glossary. And this is the same for across the board for all of the science programs that we offer. Here's their notebook. You can see where they can write in here level of organizations. They can add notes. And then when they're done, they just hit that done button. All right. Do we have any questions in the chat, Chris, about our e-text?
Nope, nothing going on right now, Kelly. All's quiet. You're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. So I just wanted to go live a little bit because here we see the platform, and then I wanted to go in to, like if I went into Elevate Science Course 2, this is kind of what it looks like and show you that the e-text is here. If I go into the cell system and I can go into lesson 1, I don't want to go into the editing mode. But if I go in here to lesson 1, I'm going to see the e-text here as well. Now, if I go in this way, I'm going to get directly into the e-text when it comes into the structure and function of cells. So you can see that that's a little different where it takes me directly in there. Here, if I opened it at the beginning, if we go back to the platform, perhaps I'll show you this way. If I open it here, this is where I have my choice. This is going to give me the entire e-text. So here's my teacher e-text. And I did want to show you one thing that I've done, because if you want to teach using all of these tabs, and I did meet with some teachers recently, and they were saying, well, I like to teach using the having a lot of tabs open. So I might have a tab open on the platform and have a You Investigate open. And then I have a tab for the student edition, and I have a tab for my, you can add this Google extension right here called Rename Tab. And you can just Google that and add it to your Chrome extension if you're using that. And then what you can do is if you click on this or click on here for my, if I open my student e-text, I can then go in and rename that once I've added this, and I can then rename this student text. And if I hit rename text, now see that's my student e-text. So I'm not going to get lost then if I'm going back and forth between trying to demonstrate things with my students on, let's say, the cell system, and I want to get in there and show them an interactivity through the microscope. I can even go in here then and I can rename this tab, my interactivity. I've got that ready to go for class. And then I can get into the student e-text, and I might want to open some pages here for my table of contents. and get into the cell system, and it will load for me. And we can talk about the essential question. And then I can go back here and go through the interactivity with them. Just wanted to show you how the beautiful colors in this and how engaging it is. And maybe this is what I'm going to use as my guiding question when when I'm teaching my lesson. How does the structure of the cell determine their function? And then I'm going to ask my kids to use what's in this EText to find me some informational text to support a claim that they're going to make for that particular guiding question that I've asked them. And we can also then use the interactivity perhaps to answer that guiding question. So that's what we have for our teacher EText and our student EText. The other thing that I wanted to be sure that the Elevate Science K through 5 teachers understand is that embedded in the program, you also have leveled readers. K through 5, you have what we call leveled readers. And if you go all the way down on the table of contents page, go all the way down, and I'll take you live to show you this as well, you are going to see Savvis readers. And if you open that folder, you will see for each grade level that you have these leveled readers for each one of your topics. So this is what they look like when you open them up. You have the beautiful, colorful books that go along with your topics. There are going to be 3 leveled readers for each topic. You have one that we call below level for your readers that might struggle a little bit. You have on level and you have advanced. Each one is a different Lexile level. So for example, grade 2, if we looked at earth, water, and land, you might have a Lexile level of 490 for the below level. And then the on level readers, it jumps up to 620. And then for advanced, it's 790. And you'll see them when you open that folder. This one happens to be Learn About Properties of Matter. You'll see this one would be the below level. This one's on level. This one is advanced. And then you also have a STEM and engineering reader. So this is a nice way of integrating your reading into science as well. And we'll go live with that. And then at the very bottom, here's where you have your reader lesson plans. So you have a whole set of lesson plans that go along with your leveled readers. And in the lesson plans, these are very complete lesson plans. We could do a whole segment on this. We could do a whole professional development just on this. It gives you some things to do before the reading. It gives you instructions on differentiated support. It gives you ELL support. It gives you what to do before the reading, during the reading, how to discuss the book, how it relates to the science, what to do after the reading, some collaborative conversation ideas. It also gives you some conversation strategies, some prompts, what to do after the reading. It gives you writing assignments, and then it does a curriculum connection to some other curriculum. So there might be a music, there might be an art, there might be something to do with social studies. So it's really exciting to me and very, very fun looking into that. So I'd like to go live and just take a look here. If we go to grade 2, we're going to go all the way down here in grade 2, and we see program resources, and here's my Savvis readers. I'll show you one of these. So I said Earth's processes, so we might open these. And this would be my below level, my on level, and my above. So let's just take a look at this one. We can open, it's going to open in a new window. And again, the kids have all of these at their disposal too if you assign them. They can turn the page. And you can assign just a few pages at a time. You can assign the entire book. And so they can read about this. They can have it read for them. You can see how this then applies to the science that they're learning. Just makes it very exciting and engaging for the kids. The Hoover Dam, my favorite over here. Get excited when I see these. So if we go back to grade 2 then, and I wanted to show you just very quickly about the lesson plans. These lesson plans are for all grades. You'll notice it's 370 pages. So I have posted this so that you don't have to, download this yourself, but you can see some of these lesson plans that we have. So if we come back here, this is for the engineering, and this is kindergarten. So these are all the lesson plans for K through 5. So you see, we've got a summary of the book. We have our before reading, and this takes us all the way through. Some literacy skills, gives us graphic organizers, which you also have as program support. All of these are included. How to discuss the book, what's happening on page 2. Now for kindergarten, we don't have the below level because they're kindergartners, but you'll notice if we're talking about the higher grades, you will, in the lesson plans, you'll have specific questions addressed to below level and above level, advanced level. So see here, you've got vocabulary, and they will divide some of the vocabulary into the different levels. So on level and advanced. So the lesson plans do differentiate for which book you're dealing with, right? So all of these lesson plans I have posted on my Padlet. So I downloaded this and put them on the Padlet if that makes it easier for you to find. But you can see here during the reading on page 3, if we're in kindergarten, you have some different questions that you can ask. And then you have some reading strategies that they're inferring here. And you also have the depth of knowledge listed. So I really like this aspect of Elevate Science and that they're bringing in the literacy as well. And this is the Padlet that I have, and I think the links are in the chat. And here's the leveled reader lesson plans. If you'd like to access them here, that's fine. You can download those or add comments. Would love to see your comments. And, just some other exciting things that here's some claim evidence reasoning, some frequently asked questions, and some other links here like the clues, articles, etc. So I am just encouraging all of us as educators just to give it a try. Maybe try one leveled reader, see if you like it, see how your kids like it. I find the books are really engaging. I particularly like some of the STEM books, if you're interested in that. As always, the JCPS Partnership Plus team is here to help and consult in any way that you need us, whether it's lesson planning, creating the playlists, helping you to navigate between the science modules that we know are wonderful and integrating some of the activities that are on the Savvis platform. We're here for you. Please feel free to reach out to us. And the next session depends on your schedule. So you let us know. We're here for you.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much, and we appreciate you being here every week, and just you and the rest of the Savvis team continuing to give us awesome sessions, and we love working with you on the science side of things as well. So thank you.
Thank you. We love it too.
All right, everybody. Really quickly before we get into our last session of the morning at 11 o'clock, let's go ahead and take a look at our schedule for today. We are about to go into our last session at 11 with Donna again. Following that, we'll have a little lunch break, and then We'll be back to talk to you about virtual clubs, The Perfect Blend, chapters 1 through 4, then Nearpod, then The Perfect Blend, chapters 5 through 8, then Girls Who Game with Lassiter Middle, and then finally The Perfect Blend, chapters 9 through 11 to round out our day. And our last day of live streaming for a little while. We will still be posting on-demand videos, but taking the month of February off for live streaming at this point. So, remember, Twitter at JCPSDigIn, tweet to the hashtag JCPSDigIn so we can continue to share our brilliance and ideas around the district. And while you're here with us, follow us on the JCPS Digital Learning channel so you can be notified when we're live. Also, we post these videos. We'll go ahead and break these up later this afternoon, tomorrow morning, and get each of these sessions into our Savvis support playlist so you can go back and watch them on demand. And finally, if you are with us for this last session today, please let us know where you're from and if you have any questions in the chat. And Donna, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm going to go ahead and pass it right back over to you. Oh, you're muted. There you go. Now we can hear. Oh, never mind. That was somebody else. That was Robin's mic we heard. It says you're muted on the Hangout, but then I think maybe it's like your mic is locally muted or something, or it's not plugged in. No, you're still muted on the Hangout now. No, you might have to actually press like the unmute button on the Google Hangout.
Can you hear me well enough with the headset off?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, great. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay.
All right, so lots to show you. Want to talk today about all of the awesome Spanish resources that we have in My Perspectives. So let's get to it. Seeing my screen okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to preface this with different grade levels have different access to Spanish resources. So don't shoot the messenger over here if you don't like what you see in your program. I will show you a way where you can have access to everything that I'm going to show you. And that is simply by coming to your little silhouette icon with the down arrow. If you go to Settings, you will see 3 tabs. The middle tab says My Programs. Now you have access as JCPS teachers. I don't know if you have everything that I'm showing on mine, but you have access to more than just the program that you're teaching with your class. And so for 6th to 8th grade teachers, you're going to see things, actually 6th to 10th grade teachers, you're going to see things that 11 and 12 don't have access to. So what those 11 and 12th grade teachers need to do is come here and add any one of those programs to get different access. And once you do that, you just click Save, and now you will also have access to those programs. And when you go to Browse, you will see that you have access to them right here. So that is what I recommend if you see something that you like and then you check your program out today, but you don't see it. So I'm going to start using 7th grade. Again, remember, I don't like thumbnail view. If yours looks different from mine, I like list view. Very easy to go back and forth. Now on a 6th to 10th grade, could even be a little different for 9 and 10. Your table of contents, if you scroll down beneath your unit resources, you're going to see a tab that says Spanish Resources. This is where we have our help. Notice this icon that there are things in here that are great for distance learning, and this particular folder is hidden from students unless it is assigned. Now, when I open it, this is showing me the exact same 5 units that I would have if I went into unit resources. But these resources here are specifically for Spanish. Yay, some support. So what you have in here in general, I just opened up 1 unit, but you will see, if you weren't aware, every single unit starts with a video to really try to get the kids hooked into the content that you're about to study. Any kinds of videos are great things to use for your Spanish speakers and your ELL students. So this is going to be a translated video that you could assign or add to your playlist specifically for your Spanish speaking students. The other thing you'll see in these folders are translated texts from the small group and the independent learning. Now, there is a reason why whole group is not included, and that's because our unit structure is such that whole group learning is to be done with teacher support, and that support is slowly pulled away for small group learning and independent learning, that gradual release of responsibility. And so because the students are reading these more on their own or in groups where the teacher isn't fully present, these are the texts that have been translated for them. So that number one is awesome. So let me show you when you download any of these PDFs, these are PDFs in Spanish that you'll download. And once you do that, you'll see that you have some tools that you can use to highlight or draw, erase things, you can pin things. So if you're using a 3-2-1 annotation in your school, those students will still be able to do that, or you could print these out and they could do it manually once we finally get back into classrooms, right? So let's get back. Aside from those unit supports, if you scroll beneath the units, again, this would be in grades 6 through 10, you're going to see folders for grammar worksheets and writing worksheets. Again, these are hidden from students. You can click on teacher resources to get a little, this is where your answer, one way to get your answer key, I should say. But we've got over 20 different grammar worksheets here for you to use with your students to help build their skills. The other place to get your answer key is over here on the right, in that teacher's resources pull down, and there is your answer key. If I get out of the grammar worksheets, I can then visit the writing worksheets. So these are more informational about the type of writing and tips and tricks that they need to become a good writer. So you won't see an answer key for these. There are some reflection questions at the bottom of these, but not necessarily something that you would be grading. Now, what if you have absolutely no Spanish background yourself, but you have Spanish students in your room and you don't even know what these say? I'm sure, or I hope that you are familiar with Google Translate. I'll be talking about that a lot. All you have to do is translate this page and pick English. And now you can see, oh, storytelling, oh, narrative. So it will help you, the English teacher, know what these Spanish titles are for these different worksheets. And I could do a whole thing just on how to get Google Translate and all the fun things that you can do with it. The last thing I want to show, specific to 6th grade teachers, is in My Perspectives Plus. So a quick way to change programs is to go to the title of the program where your green drop-down arrow is, and I can just quickly switch over to My Perspectives Plus. Now in here, what do we have but this English Learner High Interest Support tile? So many great things to help out your English language learners. And this isn't just for 6th grade. I want to point one particular 6th grade level item out, but all teachers, 6 through 12, can find some great things to do with their ELL students here. This Every Teacher's Toolkit is really just for you. Notice there is a lock on this. It is chock full of great ideas, tips and strategies that you can use in your classroom for your diverse learners. The Reality Central high interest readings, these are e-texts and writing journals with teaching guides at these various grade levels 6 through 10. And these are really going to help you take those students who need to develop their reading and writing skills and give you some extra materials to use for those students. Q reads, content area readings, are for your even, your more entry level into English. We've got levels A through F here. And what's nice about these is that these are cross-curricular. So we know that all teachers are teachers of reading, regardless of the subject area that you teach. But what you'll find in here is that they are broken up by subject area. So I have some readings in here on science, art and culture, social studies. So the other teachers in your building are going to be very thankful that you are not only building reading skills in their literacy classes, but that you are also giving them content cross-curricular to help build their knowledge base in those other subject areas. And at the bottom of this list, you'll see teaching guides for those different reading levels. And finally, there is Sleuth. Now, what we have here is an older program that from Reading Street, and we included the 6th grade program from that larger K-6 program, where you have an English edition with a teacher guide that is a downloadable PDF, and it is fully translated into Spanish. So again, if, just because you're in grades 6 through 12, you may have new arrival students who are just not up to snuff when it comes to English skills, but you want to provide them with some type of reading. So this Sleuth unit, there are 6 units in this grade. You may find some things in here that can be very supportive of those students. Since we're in My Perspectives Plus, I wanted to show you some other things. Again, I don't want the 11th and 12th grade teachers to be upset that they don't have those same Spanish resources. Really, you do. So recall I said those were grammar worksheets. If you come to conventions in My Perspectives Plus, you're going to see this tile right here. You have grammar worksheets in English, and here is a set of grammar worksheets for any teacher to use. And these have been split by grade band into middle school and high school so that you can best assign those to those students. For the writing worksheets, you would find those in the Writing and Research tab. Scroll down and you will see right here, I have Spanish writing worksheets. So you do have access to the same content, it's just in a different place if you're in grades 11 and 12. And while I'm here, I wanted to show you some other items that are really going to help your ELL students. Anytime you see this little hand icon, these are interactives. Now there's a difference here between these, and that this has the lock and these don't. These up at the top are designed for students, whereas this is designed for the teacher. You have some whiteboard lessons and some PowerPoints that you may want to integrate into your classroom. These might be, clearly better for you when you are back into your classroom, but I like to point out that they're here. But almost all of these where you see a pencil on My Perspectives Plus, they're going to have something in here that's going to be interactive for the students to do. And I really think your ELL students appreciate these types of activities because it is a way for them to learn in a non-threatening environment. They are completely, it's great for distance learning right now too, that they can spend the time learning about a new skill, and they come in parts. First they learn it in the show it, and then they try it. Again, non-threatening learning environment, no one looking over their shoulder telling them that they're wrong. They have an opportunity to check their answers. And then they get to the apply it section where they now, you're going to apply everything they learned about this particular skill. And then when they submit this, when they get to the end of it, there will be no chance for them to go back and change their answers. So it's just a really great learning tool for those ELL students to practice building their vocabulary, their writing skills, their listening skills. Again, anywhere where you see a pencil, you're going to have some kind of interactivity in here where they can practice that skill on their own. So just wanted to make sure I got that pointed out. Again, that is something that all teachers have access to in My Perspectives Plus grades 6 to 12. I'm going to go back to my 7th grade program and show you some other wonderful tools that we have to support your Spanish and your ELL students. When you go to your unit resources, remember this looks exactly like what I showed you before, right? But this is the regular place to go. Everything here will be in English. I can go to that same unit of turning points. And what I'm going to see right away, I have a home connection letter and a Spanish home connection letter. These are really nice tools to inform parents of what you're working on. There are some units that are a little more sensitive than others, especially say 8th grade with the Holocaust, that you may want to send this home so that parents understand some of the texts that you are reading in school. Again, I know you're using it as a resource, but you may want to consider, if there's any kind of sensitive nature to the text you're deciding to use with your students, that you may want to send this letter home to inform them. The next thing is in your introduction. We're always looking for ways to support our ELL students visually and with auditory supports. And one of the things that you're always going to see in your introduction is every launch has a video for them to watch when they get into their edition. I mentioned that before. I showed you those translated versions. So they always start with this. And so even if you're not going to read all of the selections, you may want to at least highlight some of the videos if you're going to be pulling texts from that unit. We're also going to have audio summaries for almost every single piece of text. And there's a little easy button here. So not only can they listen to it in English, if they are Spanish speaking, they can just flip this, trick the button, the easy button, so to speak. And it's going to translate that summary into Spanish as well as read it to them in Spanish. And it's not a robot voice, it's a real person. And then the last tool that you're always going to find here is the discussion board. Every unit has some pre-made discussion board activities. I know in an earlier session, I showed you how you can create your own. But I want to point out that some of these are done already. And what's nice about the discussion boards for your ELL students, again, it's giving them practice writing in English. But if you decide that you want them, that it's okay for you to have them write in their native language, or if you're afraid that your Spanish or other language speakers are not going to participate in the discussion, remember you have Google Translate. And so I could translate this page or the discussion itself into so many different languages that even your non-English speaking students would be able to translate the discussion board into their language to allow them to participate also. And we want to include all of our students, right? So just don't forget that you have the tool of the discussion board as it is, and that you can use Google Translate so that all of your students can participate. Other things that you have in your units that are going to support those students. In your mentor texts, and I'll use Act 2 for this, every text, I think everything but maybe some poetry is going to have an accessible leveled text. maybe reading the EText, the full length, is just going to be overwhelming for some of your ELL learners. We have this accessible level text, which is a combination of authentic author text and summarized text in order to bring the Lexile level down. You could assign this to those students as a support or as a replacement for reading the original lengthier text. The other thing, as I pointed out before, they're all going to be supported with an audio summary that you can quickly change into Spanish. Other things that you'll see in just the mentor text, the whole group learning, you will see some teacher strategies. How can I adjust this lesson to best reach my diverse learners? And you'll see that in the English language support lesson. If you do decide, as in this case, you want to use the Christmas Carol instead of maybe using a different version, you want to use this play, you may want to check out some of these other support worksheets that we have. And you'll notice this RP. RP stands for Reteach and Practice. And so those are other worksheets that might be handy for you to use with your ELL students. All right, now I'm going to switch to a high school title so I can show you a little bit of a change. In high school, under their unit resources and assessments, you guys have this hook and inspired texts. Again, 6th to 8th grade, if you want access to this, you just need to add at least one program from 9th to 12th grade. Now, I love these. They remind me very much of your curriculum frameworks, that you have all those extra links already built in for you to get to engaging content that you can use with your students. This list is the same for everybody, regardless of grade level. And as you'll scroll through, you'll see lots of different titles from the different grade levels. So I'm going to scroll down to Macbeth, which is one of the texts that we have for 12th grade, The Tragedy of Macbeth. So if you don't see an assign button here, because again, this is intended to be a teacher resource. There is, of course, a way to assign it to students. So let's take a look at what one of these hook and inspires looks like. You can scroll through here, or you can use these little hot links along the left side. So if I want to go directly to the Spark, it'll just do that for me. So I learn a little bit about the program, and then we start with the hooks. And notice we've got kind of the getting into it as we go through the text and then beyond the text. These are some really awesome things for you to check out. If you find something that you like, all you have to do is copy the link and open it up, check it out, see if you like it. And then what I advise you to do is to go to your library, because from my library, you can add a link. And once you find one of those tools from Hook and Inspire that you want to use, all you have to do is put it here. So I found this really awesome website, and it will ask you to recognize your now leaving status, from the Royal Shakespeare Company on Macbeth. I just thought this was a really cool resource to be able to use in addition to what I was using currently. I can look at the story, I can look at the characters, I can talk about staging and talk about how all of that goes. And now I have it right in my library. And once you do that, notice if you go to the three dots, now I can assign this to the students so that they have access to the website. So that's the best way, in my opinion, to utilize some of these things that we have in Hook and Inspire. Once you find something you like, add it to my library. All right, moving along, some other things since I'm right here. Collaboration Center. Our students are coming back. It's going to happen. It's going to be soon. I have faith and confidence in that. You may need
to reteach them how to be in school. We have this collaboration center filled with videos. And I bring this up for ELL students because, again, not only are they adjusting to an English school environment, right? There are cultural things that they may not know. I spent my 22 years working with many, 97% Hispanic students. And just getting students to know that we looked at each other in the eye. So many different things that we do take for granted here that maybe are not done from where they come. And so these kinds of tutorials are really going to help you provide a model. They're quick videos to reinforce appropriate behavior in the classroom and how we want you to work together when you're working in groups. Another thing that we have is the video library. Now, this video library, again, you'll notice it's not assignable. You don't see an assign button here. It's broken up into grade levels. Everyone has at least 8. 11th grade has 19. But then you have this full video library with all of those grade levels put together and then some. And you'll see a variety. This first video is 23 minutes long, whereas this one is just 3 minutes long. Anytime you can support what you're teaching with visuals, with audio, that's going to help those ELL learners, right? So I want to make sure that you know that that video library is here at your disposal. And when you, when you go into a grade level, you'll see that those videos, we'll go to 7th grade since we kind of looked at that. You'll see that we have some things specific to that curriculum. So I know this one, why should you read Charles Dickens? So when you're reading the Christmas Carol, this 5-minute video may be something that will help set the tone and the scene for that particular play. And then one of my favorite things that I saved for last is current events. We have a collaboration with ListenWise at NPR. ELL students need to practice their listening skills. I would argue all students need to practice their listening skills. So we have this partnership, and you'll see this is 12th grade. You'll see the exact same units. They have taken videos and they're always updating it. And they're adding things that go right along with our content and my perspectives. So here is a video, a one-man Macbeth on stage. And what you can do here is just listen to this story. And if you're not familiar with NPR, so soothing. I love listening to their stories, so well produced. If you decide that you want to assign it, you can copy the link and just like I showed you before, add it to my library. And now this would be assignable to the students so that they could listen to it as many times as they need it. What's nice about these as a teacher is that they come with questions. You'll have comprehension questions as well as some discussion themes that maybe you want to create your own prompt in the discussion board and have the students have a lengthier discussion. The other thing that this source gives you is related events over here on the left. And you will always have access to all current events, if that's what you would like to do. I was fortunate that I always got to teach literacy along with social studies. So I was always looking for great ways to partner those two things. And so maybe you have that same opportunity, or maybe you want to work more closely with your social studies teachers, where they can have access to this current events ListenWise as well. So I hope I didn't forget anything that I wanted to show you. Again, I know we are pressed for time. I encourage you, use our links, reach out to us, any of us in the partnership program, request a 30-minute session if you'd like more time to go over something, or email me at any time.
Well, Donna, thank you so much. Great resources, great session, and it was great having you on for 2 sessions today. So thank you for being here.
Thanks, Matt. We'll see you soon, I hope.
Yep. Have a great rest of your week. Bye. Alrighty, everybody, it is 11:30, and that marks the end of our morning sessions today. If you take a look at our calendar, sorry, my dog is jumping onto my lap. We have a short lunch break until 12:30, and then we're coming back with JCPS virtual clubs with a huge cast of people to talk about those. Then we have 3 different sessions split apart for the perfect blend. So we do chapters 1 through 4, then 5 through 8, then 9 through 11. In between that, we have Nearpod, and we have Girls Who Game with Lassiter Middle. So thank you so much for being here this morning. If you were in the chat, thank you for showing up. And thank you to our Savas team. This is the last time we'll have them on for the month. They've just been amazing every Wednesday. So much good content, so many good resources, and so much awesome support from them for our teachers here. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you at 12:30. Have a good lunch.